so they don't have that level of lockdown too.
I mean, funny enough, that's literally an entire Razor skill. You know, move speed. I mean, sure, it's permanent, but it's
the best passive in the game.
It's the best passive in the game, yeah.
As I would say.
It's the best passive
Absolutely.
in the game.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, having that, even just for your lane skirmishes, is going to be quite an incredible and powerful tool. My only issue with this Marcy is that, you know, early on, yes, rebound into just a simple dispose is going to be good enough to basically win you fights, right? But eventually there will come a time where Marcy just, like, explodes. I think, like, OG had, like, 17, 18 deaths on the Marcy in their win, right? Like, this is just a hero that dies a lot. So you'd like to eventually be able to play a little bit with the not the tag team, the
Sidekick.
The sidekick, yeah. And I don't know if Razor's the best to utilize out of all the heroes. I mean, the bonus damage is great, don't get me wrong, but whenever I think of like the lifesteal heroes, I'm always like, in the bonus damage, I'm like Ursa, I want like a PA. So that's my only downside, is I think this is very strong early, incredibly strong, and playing to that Razor's timing, but I think this Marcy's not going to have a great...
I think they just want to crush the lane, basically, for LGD. So I'm wondering, like, what are the heroes that they're going to be able to pick that are going to prevent that from happening? Like, against a Razor Pos 3, the ones that you think of are ones that have that mobility component. You can see that's why they're banning out the Morphling, potentially a Faceless Void, potentially a PA, but the worry is that you're just going to get run over before a PA really hits the timing that you need to be able to fight up into this. And, of course, if you're not going to be picking it early-ish, LGD are just going to go ahead and ban it, because that's the big counter to the Razor, its movement.
Right, okay. Do you still believe in the Viper plus 5, though? Because usually that's pretty weak, not a mobile hero in the lane, but just feed to the Marcy Razor.
Yeah, but if you throw it into a Pos 3 roll, Razor, once you got the BKB, you're just going to run it down, and then that's what Viper's weak against, right? Okay. It's just, you have no mobility. You're just going to get run down. So I think it is still just going to try and secure the lane for them, in my opinion.
And I think even if the lane is weak, you still have, like, the Viper Strike, right? You've got, like, a BKB piercing slow, which is always going to be nice first to the Razor. It's percentage-based as well, which means it really hard counters the Marcy rebound move speed through BKB. Clockwork as well can set up some cogs. Like, you do have ways of protecting some of these cores that, you know, Razor gets a link off and the fight's over for these guys, right? You got ways to potentially turn that around with a good hook shot, cogs, Viper Strike. Like, I do like that about...
They've got BKB piercing spells.
Exactly.
Which is great. Oh, they do ban the Void. What was the other one I said? PA? Maybe a Ricky? Never know.
This is... Well, no, Team Spirit's not SCA.
No, absolutely not. Boom plays it. Jackie plays a mean Ricky.
Yeah, well, that's why I said SCA. What do you say? I was prompting you.
Absolutely. I'm just struggling to think what else they could do. I mean, maybe they can do like a ranged carry, like a Medusa that you don't really want to be running into either. You know, you just pop the Stone Gaze, even if you've got that BKB running on the Razor, turn to Stone. Enables you to run away with that extra movement speed that you get from using the Medusa ultimate.
But isn't the immobile ranged carries what Razor deals pretty well with?
Yeah, but you just pop ulti, and then what can he do? Like, if he static blinks you, he has to, like, run away, basically. You don't want to be food for the rest of the team.
Okay, fair enough. I can see that.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see that working pretty well for LGD as well. You know, Marcy, if this is going to be like the Aetherlands build on Marcy, you know, you catch him, you get the 15 talent, and you just throw Dusa so far from the fight, and that is what she absolutely hates. I did bring up what Spirit have in Spades, rather, is, you know, the BKB piercing disabled, but they don't have save on this lineup, right? And I think with a Dusa, I think you're best with some save against this kind of, like, Razor, Marcy, Tiny, that kind of stuff.
Don't hate the TB either, though. Again, an illusion hero that's just, you know, pops meta and then Razor dies, even if he's just trying to run into you and static link. Gets much worse when he picks up the Skadi as well. So it's a good ban. But again, Medusa still is a Skadi builder, is someone that's going to be able to be fine. I understand what you're saying in regards to the save. Maybe, you know, the Clockwork's going to be able to do enough. Mira, very talented player.
Oh, for sure, right? He won a tournament, I believe, back in the day.
I'm not as big a fan of this Quap, though. I mean, maybe they're trying to cover their bases in case this is going to be a last-minute switch of the Razor to being mid lane. I really don't think it would be, because Marcy is, again, in my opinion, such a great pairing together with the Razor. But I think Quap just... It's very one note. I don't like the Quap because you don't really have that insane tower taking. You have to snowball if you're going to have any kind of impact. And it's not like a Lina where you've got sustained damage, for example. And this is something that actually, I think it's Toronto Tokyo, I've had a chance to interview him before, and he said, look, if you compare Quap and Lina, Lina's impact is by far better because you've got the burst, you've got the sustained damage, you've got the tower sieging, you've got the better laning. So the fact that they've gone for it must mean they really believe in it, or they just want something else that's going to be able to go through that Razor BKB once he hits his timing with the Sonic Wave.
Yeah, I reckon it's also for like this early timing. Like Quap still loves to rotate out of the mid lane super early on, right? Quite famously, as does Marcy. So you can kind of counter her movements around the map. And I mean, now it's going to be, you know, Void Spirit's going to be following you around, so that's going to be a bit more difficult, obviously, for the Queen of Pain. But I mean, that's how we saw, I believe it was Liquid really shine and kind of cut a lot of momentum out from TSM last time. They just rotated the Marcy super early. Quap can outfight the Marcy easily, so I do like that about the Quap at least.
Love the Warlock though, and love the Void Spirit. Again, like, Quap is a lane dominator. You want to be landing those Shadow Strikes, you want to be just regenning up so much, you want to be harassing him out, preventing him from farming. You toss out a Shadow Strike, just dissimulate. Doesn't matter. You know, the cooldowns early on sync up reasonably well, and Quaps don't want to fall off, right? So they only want to get about 2 points into the Shadow Strike most of the time, and it's really only once you get 4 points that you win out that cooldown battle and you're actually able to bully him out. But by that point, the laning stage is done.
Right. Now they add CK to the mix, which is going to be their somewhat answer to the Razor. Does carry a stun, so there's a way to break that link by stunning him and hopefully running away before Marcy catches you, with Viper slowing her. You know, it works.
You've also can, you know, if you get linked in the fight, just instantly Phantasm, make sure your illusions can also try and clean them up eventually is not the worst strategy.
They might also just be trying to abuse those really early timings as well, right? Level 1, level 3. That's where Team Spirit are going to be looking to get most active in this lane. Just try and crush the Viper before Static Link really has that high level of effectiveness.
Yeah, and they also now have a stun, which they kind of needed, both supports. Hookshot is something, but the Chaos Bolt gives you some more security. This is not Enigma that we're watching, after all.
True.
Very true. No. Yeah, now I think, we need some good control here. I do like the ban on the Darkseer, quite specific. Thinking some more illusion heroes here, perhaps?
Darkseer would have been solid. Again, like, just more of that AoE control that they're needing. Pairs, like, Clockwork is the best hero to pair together with a Darkseer. So you're either going down that route or some kind of ranged hero that's in this position 3 role for Collapse. Maybe they could go something like... I was about to say Necro, but Necro's not that great against this lineup in particular. Lots of magic damage, no real strength heroes that you're going to be able to take advantage of.
You don't really want to be healing and like healing massively when you fatal bonds with the rest of your team. Yeah, not the best strategy generally. Okay.
The Darkseer and the Timbersaw.
Yeah.
So what does this indicate? Obviously the PL was a good idea. Are they really just thinking a bunch of illusion heroes? There's also the option of Naga. They're all weak against Timbersaw.
That's kind of what I was thinking, right? I always see Darkseer, immediately it's the illusion heroes. Yeah, so both the Naga and the PL taken out. I mean, that is, of course, going to be a weakness of the CK. He does struggle against the illusions, much more of a single target kind of guy. So that is certainly one way you could exacerbate the matchups. Even if Razor is going to not be able to consistently kill him, the illusion hero is just going to run around the fights. You've taken away the 2 most annoying ones here now on Spirit. So I do think that's a pretty good reaction to the bans of LGD.
So also indicates they are afraid of losing early too hard, as Dana was pointing out, making sure that the lanes don't go really badly for them. So
I know I said Army isn't really a Razor player, but like Warlock Razor is such a strong lane, man. Like I don't know if they're going to be able to deal with it if they choose to go down that sort of route and just pick up the tempo even further. But again, Marcy Razor is also really strong.
You wouldn't pick a ban of Timber though if you're really thinking about that.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, Timber again it's all about the mobility, right? Like you can actually look to break the static link just with Timber Chain. So.
Yeah, but you just plasma field in that lane, and then Timber really struggles.
Yeah.
Until level 6, of course, but there's no hero that's level 6 yet.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm looking at Spirit's lineup, and they also need team fight. They are heavily outclassed right now.
Ooh, okay.
Oh. That's Lone Druid.
Oh, wow. I hadn't seen him so long. I didn't know what this old man was. Wow, Lone Druid, interesting choice.
What do they need? I wouldn't hate an Underlord to come through from Team Spirit. I think you need percentage damage against the bear. You need lockdown for someone that doesn't really love to build the BKB super early on. It's great against even the Razor kind of early-ish. So I wouldn't hate to see it. I mean,
I like the Underlord idea.
Yeah. Underlord feels pretty good here.
You also need an off lane that generally is going to recover because that lane of Warlock Lone Druid is almost impossible to beat. So he's going to out-CS you.
Bloodseeker.
Ooh, yeah, no, that's great too.
Yeah,
that's
there
fantastic.
It is. That's some percentage-based damage on the shard that you can utilize. Strong lane setup.
So
Cogs, Battery Assault into the Bloodrite.
Rupture against a Razor, devastating. Rupture against a Lone Druid, suddenly your supports are a lot safer. So I'm liking that Bloodseeker last pick. We're assuming, I'm not sure if that's a position 1 or a position 3.
Right, because they play CK3 in the EU. That's actually still the region that plays it. So I don't know. What would you guys prefer? We won't find out. So what do you prefer?
We won't know. Yeah, that's true. I'd like the CK offlane.
Okay. Enoch?
I'll go different. I'll say CK pause one just for the memes.
Let's go. And then we're going to have to find out with our two casters. And I am so excited to present them. It's Lacoste and Gareth.
Thank you so much. Yeah, here we are. We were just taking a quick look at Lone Druid for LGD. 2 years since they've played it, at least according to DOTA buff. Lacoste.
It's been a while. Looking at these two lineups, I don't know. LGD, they have a lot of like early momentum. I think their lanes are going to be pretty stable with what they got. I see a little bit of a switcheroo coming up from the Team Spirit. Yeah, Miposhka will be playing Viper, and yeah. Clockwork will be played by Mira. Strong 3 cores. The Queen of Pain also picked by them. Not a hero we usually see. I don't think this hero was touched at all. And I don't know. I've not seen it in the DPC from the regions that I've been covering. But definitely want to see what Queen of Pain can do. Like the pushback, it's going to be Queen of Pain against the Void Spirit matchup on the mid lane. With the cooldowns on the abilities, you can dodge every second Shadow Strike pretty much. So we'll see how that one goes.
Yes, you got something at least to mitigate that laning presence from the Queen of Pain. Oh yeah, tons of team fight. Just that big man, the Warlock, able to bring in the Chaotic Offering and the Fatal Bonds. Lots of links there with the Razor as well to deal with this Team Spirit side as we get ourselves into game 1 here in the group stage of the Riyadh Masters. And we can watch that beautiful aerial view and follow LGD as they smoke out of their base, dropping the good look, have fun, and get themselves out across.
It's been a while, Gary. It's been a while. These two teams, this is the first showing of PSG.LGD on LAN, on international LAN since TI-10 Grand Finals. And
this is the rematch.
It's the rematch, so pretty hyped about what's going to happen in this one. PSG.LGD, always a team that has variety of heroes that they can play. It feels like they're so versatile. It's almost impossible to ban, like, oh, we need to ban out Ame, we need to ban out Jinkyu. It just doesn't happen. It's more about how you're going to counter certain heroes.
Yeah, this Lone Druid pickup, you know, you obviously think of Admiral Bulldog and, oh, hang on, the Bear's in trouble down bottom. Dearie me, already losing it.
Mira getting 300 gold from this one.
Oh, yeah, well on his way to boots already. Yeah, this is one of those heroes that is very player specific though, isn't it? Right? Admiral Bulldog was always one of the big ones. Matuma Man more recently, one of the star players on that. But I know I think of China. I think of Sylar. This is bringing back memories of Sylar Lone Druid back in the day. Of course, Ame has played this a fair amount as well.
Look what he has in his quick buy. So some extra blades of attack. I see power treads. I don't know if he's going to go for the same thing. Usually it's phase boots on the bear, Mask of Madness into if you feel like you need more damage with the Deso, or if you feel like you need to deal with the illusions, maybe go for the Maelstrom, but probably going to be Deso. And after a short pause, we're going to be good to go.
Yeah, that gives him such a strong timing, you know, similar to the Templar Assassin, right? With that Desolator, able to take buildings, take team fights, maybe force a Roshan early on as well. Lots of options there for you as the Lone Druid. And that bear kill coming off the back of a
Look at their XP.
Nice lane wall.
That's pretty nuts. They're always halfway to the level 2 on 3 heroes.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that could mean that they can potentially like play aggressive earlier and get another kill because they got that XP from killing the bear.
Yeah, especially on a hero like Clockwork. Get up in the face of your opponents and do all that magic damage. And right now, Lone Druid left alone to his own devices down bottom, waiting for the bear to come off cooldown. 10 more seconds for that. And of course, we will have that Warlock joining him. In the mid lane, nothing to say on that Void Spirit against the Queen of Pain. You were talking about the kind of matchup there with the Dissimulate against Shadow Strike. Is this one of those games then where, oh, Miposhka, the Viper out in no man's land and first blood spilled by Jinkyu?
Yeah, you want to pair up Razor with something that has a stun, and yeah. Marcy's going to be that hero, also giving him extra move speed so that he can link onto the target much easier.
It gives him a lot of opportunity to play aggressively. But do you think this Queen of Pain versus Void Spirit lane, is it reminiscent of Puck versus Quap with ignore Shadow Strike, or is Toronto Tokyo still going to level up Shadow Strike to like 2 points at least?
2 points, I would say. It's a bit different because you need mana for Dissimulate. Like it's a heavy commitment. It's 100 mana to be able to dodge the Shadow Strike, unlike Puck.
Oh, another dispose. This time Jinkyu using it defensively. Faith Bian The poison stacks on him. He's going to fall here. Miposhka just keeps laying it on. And the Razor falls to the Viper, two of the more toxic heroes in that Dota 2 pool. Mira getting in that bottom lane. Already dropping army to about half HP.
It wasn't too bad that Miposhka died for the first blood, because he came back into the lane with full HP, full mana. This is what you want to do. Like, I haven't seen too much of a position 5 Viper, other than like when you need to really flex it, and also in South America, where they really love to play it as position 5.
Yeah, Panda. He absolutely loves that Viper. There's a couple of things that have kind of filtered out from South America, right? The Templar Assassin position 1 was South American flavor out of Pakaz. And of course we had Panda on Thunder, bringing out that position 5 Viper. And now we're seeing that spread of knowledge across the world. A nice little entangle there onto Collapse. Bloodseeker bonded up with his buddy Mira, taking damage from the rest of the creeps in that wave as well, but they will survive. Gonna take a lot of regen to stick in this lane though.
Yeah, also having Fatal Bonds, which means that whoever gets the damage will shut up, but Miposhka in trouble.
Dead again. Yatoro trying to trade back, but Jinkyu has the sidekick, so actually playing aggressively again. Getting some life steal going for himself. And Faith Bian going to continue having a good, solid laning stage. Even though his CS doesn't really reflect that, he will keep that pressure up.
A bit low on mana on CK on the top. Viper is going to bring some extra regen to Mango, so they can start playing aggressive, but they also need to pull the lane back. Like this lane, not going too well for CK. He has 7 CS. Viper's really good at trading kills. Mid lane.
Dissimulate. He gets the Fairy Fire off instead, holding that mana for a little bit later on. Now dissimulating. Dodge away from whatever remnant of damage that's coming from the Queen of Pain. So now he's got Tango's stick. And he does want to try and refill that bottle at 4 minutes though, and maybe he wants one of his supports to die so they can TP and refill it for him. There goes Collapse down bottom. Mira had left the lane, went wandering off into the jungle, leaving Collapse alone. Bloodseeker not the conventional offlane hero, not necessarily tanky in his own right. Hang on a second, Miposhka again. They try and turn it on to Faith Bian, but Yatoro now dealing with the Razor's inordinate amount of damage that's been stolen out by the Link.
This top lane is a disaster for Team Spirit. Fate Beyond off to a really good start. Usually you don't see this item build. He went for double raid ban, so he's really focusing to win the laning stage. And Jinkyu with the 1-1-1 build, getting a sidekick and also providing a bit more regen and a bit more damage. And now he has a full orb of corrosion, so the chase potential is going to be there.
That's huge. Mira going to trap the bears inside the cogs. Don't think they can finish him off. And with the Fatal Bonds and the Entangling Claws arriving onto Collapse now, Team Spirit forced away from that engagement. Yeah, even if the early days kill trades looked okay for Team Spirit, losing the Viper a couple of times there and giving this Razor a good head start, and like you said, the focus on the laning stage item build puts a lot of pressure on Yatoro CK now.
They do have like Bloodseeker that can also become a core, but it needs a lot of time. Right now he's in the middle of the pack, but in terms of levels, Ame about to hit level 5, Collapse still level 3.
Yeah, well, what do you think about that? The point I was starting to make, he's not the conventional, Tide Hunter, Magnus, whatever that we see from the offlane. He's not a team fighter. What's this Bloodseeker going to bring you once we get into that mid game? Is it about scaling? It's
going to be about keeping Razor away from your carry, because you're going to be using Rupture, and that means that he will not be able to use the link on your CK, because definitely not going to target Queen of Pain.
And then, of course, Queen of Pain, Toronto, Tokyo, going to have a lot of work to do to keep that tempo going. Queen of Pain, one of those snowball heroes. Once you get some active runes, can absolutely rotate into the side lanes and look for those early kills. Currently, nothing to say. Doing a great job there. Just weathering the storm, but Queen of Pain coming out with like 11 denies, 35 CS is coming out ahead, absolutely. Well, this time around, Miposhka able to zone the Marcy away. Might be able to get involved with his small camp and do a little pull. Something they desperately needed to do, control that lane equilibrium to give CK at least some free farm time.
6-minute rune, let's see who picks it up. Nothing to say, using one Astral Step. Toronto does have... Never mind, Jinkyu picked up Invis.
Yeah, 2 supports, right? LGD bring both supports into mid to guard both of the rune spots. It feels like Team Spirit a little bit stuck in their side lanes, but this does allow them to make a move onto Jinkyu. But with a rebound and a jump away, he's moved into Toronto Tokyo, disposed back. Yatoro should be able to chase this one down and finish off the Marcy, though. Nothing the Razor can do to save her. They'll try and delay this and drag them across, but Jinkyu will be fodder for the CK War Machine. Collapse now. He's pretty speedy. Low HP heroes across the map. Down goes the Warlock, but hello, Void Spirit arriving on the scene and finishing off the Bloodseeker quite nicely.
That's a good rotation. Queen of Pain did not want to commit the Sonic Wave on top just to be able to get the kill, but saving it for something bigger. Did not want to waste it on Marcy, and good rotation from Nothing to Say, just to be able to secure the kill, and also, most importantly, Am is not dying. Like, Am is off to a really good start, has 2 kills already.
Yeah, Hogs pushed them back out of the mid lane. Mira's rotation in, matching that Nothing to Say. Moves back towards the mid-tier one to defend the tower. But it's also a signal, right? It's a Void Spirit saying, hey, if your Queen of Pain is going to rotate, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to sit here shoving out wave and playing passively. I will absolutely match the aggression of Toronto Tokyo every step of the way. Viper, again, such a sluggish hero. Once you're disposed, if you're out there in the open, you're going to die to the Razor.
Yeah, these position 5 Vipers, they usually, it's like straight up 50-50. Either you look like, wow, we should pick this 5 Viper more often, or it's like, yeah, we should have gone for something else. Like, I don't think there is in between.
You either get first blood and go 3-0,
yes,
or you go
exactly.
0-6. Yeah. I know the exact feeling. Well, Nothing to Say, going to stack his own little small campers. Again, look at LGD, bringing numbers to guard these early active runes. It does spawn bottom as a regen there, but Miposhka's Viper, unfortunately, just meets 3 of them in the river.
I'm a little afraid for Team Spirit that they're going to need to be playing 4 versus 5. This Viper is going to be just a meat. Like, he's going to go in. Yeah, pretty much. You know, you're going to be using ulti potentially and standing in front of the fight and dying. Rupture on the bear.
Yeah, focusing down the bear. Collapse, just giving it the wax, but the entangling claws and the damage from Arme, they're going to find a Bloodseeker kill before they can even finish off the bear. He's still alive. And up top, Faith Beyond swings back. Both of the side lanes picking up a killing spree. Yatoro dropping, giving the double kill to the Razor.
No, sidekick. Can he deny him? Yes, he can. Like,
beautifully done.
why was in vicinity? Maybe he could have used the Shadow Ward just to be able to get some HP going. We were talking about the level 2 Shadow Strike. But yeah, I don't know. Team Spirit decided to rupture the bear and try to kill him. Ame could have resummoned the bear, got one extra. He's going to stand his ground, use the true form.
And now he's invincible. Just one entangling clause there. Probably he gets it on the creep. Probably could have had the clockwork if he wanted him.
I think what made the difference there for him to get a kill is extra gloves of haste on the bear. Yeah.
That extra attack speed.
Highest amount of net worth. Well, they set him up for success in this bottom lane, pairing it up with Warlock, so any kind of damage that they do was mitigated. And yeah, highest amount of building damage as well. He managed to take down tower by himself.
And anything else, JJ? Has he got any more? No? Highest amount of branches in your inventory at 10 minutes in for a carry?
Oh, you know those branches are going to stay. I mean, we're talking about bear. Oh, look what his bear is called. It's called Setsu.
Oh!
The old school Chinese player.
That's a good little shout out there. Good throwback. But he will die now. Miposhka will have to trade his life for it, but that is a big kill for Team Spirit, putting him on the sidelines for 30 seconds. LGD trying to get something else done. They've already taken top tier 1 tower, so they're able to carve a bit of the map open for themselves in that north area. That's probably where Arme wants to start living, right? He'll come help out, push the mid-tier 1, and then sit around that top lane.
Absolutely. Looking at his item progression, we're talking about 12, 13 minutes Mask of Madness Phase Boots Deso on Bear.
It's wild.
So this opens up the Roche for them. This also opens up the towers, and now they're playing with the Siege Creep. White does have Chaotic Offering available.
Yeah, they're ready to team fight. Faith Beyond's level 8. He's pretty tanky on this Razor. He's going to sit there in front line. Already forcing out the glyph from Team Spirit, who are bringing heroes here to match this move. Toronto Tokyo has just finished off his urn, so he wants to start getting some charges, but the dive in from Nothing to Say. Focusing Miposhka, the reaction from Mira, but the gold's dropped on 3 of them. Toronto Tokyo has to blink away. Fatal Bonds not really connected to too much there, so Mira and Miposhka probably just going to be the big casualties here. And LGD very patient, very deliberate, not diving Mira too far, focusing the objectives.
Yeah, this is what you call objective-based gaming. Nothing to Say.
There's no dissimulate.
No dissimulate.
He can't TP out. He's got sidekick. He's got a bit of heal, but he's going to get blasted by the Sonic Wave. Toronto, Tokyo, dragged back by the Dispose, though. And this Golem, look at him go. Destroys the Queen of Pain in a 2-for-1 trade out there, but Team Spirit also lost their tower.
Fate's going to get another one. Ooh, slow. One more hit. Going to do the trick. Fate Beyond on Mega Kill.
This has given a little bit of room to Yatoro to get his farm going, but he's
still not looking good. We are talking about like 14 maybe minute armlet, which is going to be like one of the reasons why Collapse is also trying to go for the scaling build. That there's no shenanigans, no team items. He's going straight Maelstrom into BKB on the Bloodseeker. He understands that he also needs to be able to scale well into the mid game, because right now PSG.LGD, they're in the driver's seat.
Do you think that's the correct decision? Looking at the draft and thinking, okay, laning stage is not going to go well for us, so we'll focus on mid game instead?
Yeah, I assume so. It's going to be a lot of on Clockwork shoulders to be able to get some stuff going, because you have position 5 Viper, which is, you know, off to a bad start. Can't really do much, can't move, can't gank. CK doesn't want to join the fight, so it needs to be Queen of Pain, and it needs to be Clockwork who kind of lifting them. And if you look at the Toronto Tokyo's build, it's Urn of Shadows. He's trying to build a Spirit Vessel, so it's a little bit more overtime damage. In terms of scaling, like that's not going to be the greatest item build.
Yeah, it's a curious one, that. I'll see what he transitions into. Hook shot. Mira finds the bear. Well, Druid does get off his true form, but there's an awful lot of damage coming in from Yatoro, and that's
Failed Bonds on 5.
Queen of Pain. That's a big bonds, and in comes nothing to say. The spill damage spreading all across Team Spirit. That was not worth it, Lacoste. 3 heroes down, and now the entire map belongs to LGD.
They call them bonds. Fatal bonds. This was 5-man fatal bonds, Gary. I don't know. Like, one thing I like about the Warlock players, especially the experienced ones, is realizing which spells you need to max out. Like, if this was 4 points in Shadow Word, he understands that, like, yeah, you don't need to get that, but fatal bonds, it's beautiful.
And look at the patience from Y. He's just like waiting. Yeah, okay, my Lone Druid's going to die, but I am going to absolutely allow my team to clean up the mess that was left behind.
It's also when you see fatal bonds connecting on like even 3-4 heroes, you're like, if we don't have anything to dispel, that's going to be a huge issue.
Yeah, it's just permanently there. Can't deal with it. Collapse falling yet again. Yeah, all down to that bottom lane fight failing. Team Spirit still yet to really connect onto a tier 1 either. There's all these towers that are still available for LGD to come back and defend.
14 minutes, 13 assists, keeping 1 assist per minute. One thing I like about Jin Q is that, like, he goes for different item builds, but I think this is the correct way to play Marcy.
Oh, yeah.
So you can scale. Like, he's getting a BKB, he's getting the phase boots, no ether lens, and he has a sidekick maxed out. So he can actually deal damage in the fights. And if we talk about the mid, late game, after that, his item's going to be a basher. So you're going to have a scaling position 4 instead of just using 2 abilities on Marcy. Like, yeah, I'm Dispose and I'm Rebound, and also I use my Unleash just to be able to dispel things, but I can't deal damage.
That's kind of an interesting point, because we've had a lot of conversations about this Marcy being kind of a better Tiny in the laning stage, the first 10 minutes or so, right? But with the Aetherlens Blink build, you feel like a worse Tiny 20 minutes in compared to a Tiny with Blink.
Yeah, you just don't scale with that item build, and yeah, good item. Sync coming out from PSG.LGD. Deso done on Ame. Fate Beyond with the BKB. Inside the Roche they go. Instant smoke. Rocket is available. They want to take a fight.
Roshan's not happy. The fire, the flames, disappears in a puff of smoke. There's LGD traversing across into enemy triangle. Yatoro, oh, we feel something. Spidey senses tingling. Leaves the last ancient creep. He's going to go try and farm down bottom. He pops the Phantasm, sees them coming, trying the illusion bait. Which one's real? Oh, they figured it out quite quickly. Entangling Claws, and the Dispose comes. LGD bring the numbers. 4 heroes strong down there. And they can still connect back into mid. Void Spirit already jumping on the Queen of Pain. Toronto Tokyo losing about half his health in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, this Witchblade, they have a bit of limited control on side of PSG.LGD, so he's going for Aghanim Scepter next. have extra layer of silence against the Queen of Pain, especially because there is no defensive items. Like, you connect onto the target, and most likely that target is going to die.
Yeah, it's like you said, right? There's no save, there's no dispels being built yet. It's going to take a long while for them to all come out. So if you're able to focus down one hero, get the first pick off, you're looking pretty damn good. Nothing to say. Spots collapse. This is my triangle on the Radiant side.
As
He's gonna die though.
Pop it.
Oh goodness, collapse. Getting a lot of HP back from that as well. Jin-Q comes back in though with the Dispose Unleash, and Miposhka, he's got that poison attack stacking up with the Viper
Bit
Strike
low on
on
mana,
him.
does have 2 mangoes.
They
Even
drop
drops the
rock
rock.
on him. They really don't want these Team Spirit heroes in their triangle. They
Why?
lose 2
What a
though.
pro. He still dies, but why wanted to save him there?
He tried his hardest. But that kind of trade is pretty good, right, for Team Spirit. 2 for 2 on the enemy side of the map.
It definitely is. And it also gives some more farm to Chaos Knight. Yatoro is in the middle of the pack, needs some more items. Like, I don't think he feels comfortable coming into the fight, especially against this super farm bear.
So it's going to be Echo Saber, disassemble that into BKB, and then feel a lot more comfortable with his state in the game. And they have caught up a decent amount. They've got those 3 cores in the middle of the Radiant ones. Now, Lone Druid is by far out in front. But Void Spirit, I don't want to say he's struggling, but he's definitely being more sacrificial in terms of giving farm priority over to the Razor and the Lone Druid.
I think that's correct. I mean, he definitely didn't want to die, lower his net worth there, you know, not getting anything while he's dead. But yeah, Razor is going to be the carry on top of Lone Druid. So you have 2 really good cores that can match up whatever Team Spirit has in the late game. They would definitely want to have BKBs before the next fight. Collapse, just a recipe away from it. And CK, if he disassembles, he still needs like another 3-4 minutes of free farm to be able to get it.
Oh, there's bonus damage from Sidekick on the bear. He's just a bulldozer. Goes to a tower, it disappears in a matter of seconds. And to have Mira there all leashed up by the Razor, and a free outpost for them as well. Well, this seems like a very straightforward, systematic situation for LGD. Just go from tower to tower, topple them over like dominoes, and it's down to Team Spirit to find those gaps in the map to get the space for Yatoro in particular.
They also want to use this Aegis to just get another tower. Bottom tier 2 tower, they're going to be collapsing onto it. I don't think Team Spirit will take this fight. They just need to let it go.
Yeah, they absolutely should. Just give that away. And look at that bear. 93 plus 145. Yeah, he's closing in on 6,000 building damage. Gone over it now with that tier 2, and it's 19 minutes in.
Next item is going to be the Basher, so we'll have another way of controlling people, and it will sync up with also Aghanim Scepter on the Void Spirit.
Miposhka sees Jin-Q in his spot of the map, and a hook shot just off the mark from Mira. Looked close, there's nothing to say. Jumps straight in, zips onto the Viper. Quick and easy. At what point, as LGD, do you think about high ground? Is it next Roshan? Because Aegis is expiring soon.
They will want to have 2 BKBs. Like, Queen of Pain's still very far away from it, so I expect them to let Aegis expire in 20 seconds, farm up their BKBs on Bloodseeker and CK, and then try to go for a smoke. Because they can't just... They're losing so much with each minute. PSG.LGD is controlling most part of the map, and Team Spirit is just going to get out-farmed if they don't do anything.
All right, just step by step. Every 2 or 3 minutes, there's another 1,000 net worth difference between the 2 squads. And there is that Aegis, reclaimed by the big man. Team Spirit setting up near their triangle, maybe expecting LGD to make a move aggressively into them. Nothing to say, and Jin-Q, they're nearby. Radiant have that high ground vision. Team Spirit going to start realizing what's coming over the hill is a scary monster. Nothing to say, and Arme's bet straight on to Mira. He spends the hook shot, but he's disposed back into them. So that's another 30 seconds now where it feels like Team Spirit just cannot fight. Doing such a great job as LGD, pushing out multiple lanes as well, right? Faith Bian has been spot on with moving top when he needs to, moving or staying in the mid lane when the rest of his team is ganking down bottom.
Yeah, they can't go on Razor. He's a bit too tanky. Also, they need to bring numbers. Like, they need to bring 4 people, heavily commit with their ultis to be able to get a kill. This is the last tier 2 tower. Let's see what response from Team Spirit is going to be. There is a BKB on CK. There is BKB on Bloodseeker. I want to see them push out the waves and go for smoke.
Yeah, something has to be done. You've got to make that first step somewhere. You can't just keep letting these tidal waves of aggression wash over you. You're going to get worn out eventually. And you still need another, over 1,000 gold for Queen of Pain to finish off her BKB.
Jin-Q almost has same amount of farm as Queen of Pain. Like, there's 2,000 difference, but getting closer to BKB, and once you have that BKB, you can stand in the middle of a fight. Yes, they do have multiple ways that, multiple abilities that go through magic immunity, but still you're going to feel relatively safe. Like, you might bait a hook shot, you might bait the rupture, potentially sonic wave, and this is exactly what you want to do. There's a lot of sustain on their side, especially if we talk about the healing. When they like kill 1 or 2 heroes, they can easily reset. Warlock does have a shard,
yes.
so AoE Shadow Word,
That's
and
huge.
also Sidekick on top of that.
Yeah, there's so many ways of keeping that ball rolling. Try and extend these team fights with fatal bombs on everyone. That bear is going to do some serious work. Arme under a rocket flare, smokes with the rest of the squad. Team Spirit know exactly what's coming. They're trying to retreat back to a better position, but it always feels awkward fighting low ground
it's
to high
one of those
ground.
smokes where you feel like you need to do something as we expected, and then we can't really take a fight.
The enemy's already there in your face.
They're there. We can see them with the high ground ward, so need to find a good opening. It's going to get dewarded.
Straight out of there. And Team Spirit, they're picking out that bottom lane because top is moving in towards tier 3, mid is shoved out as well. Once you get to a situation where you have 3 lanes on your doorstep as Spirit, it's lights out. Lone Druid is on your base, taking tier 3s with ease.
PSG.LGD, they don't have to rush anything. They can wait for Roshan to respawn, and then, like, you're forcing Team Spirit to take a fight. Oh, hookshot connects on the creeps, but it also stuns, so that's a good kill. Whatever they can get. So close to BKB.
A good attempt from Jin-Q, right? He knew exactly what he was doing, rebounding, disposing, staying in the creep wave to try and stop any kind of jump from coming, but very well done by Mira, obviously, knowing the limits of his hero. And Roshan spawn just over a minute away.
I don't think I've seen Void Spirits not having a single last hit on a hero. He has 0, 2, and 10 score.
No kills. Yeah, that's a bit bizarre, isn't it? He's not been playing poorly. He's been jumping when he needs to, but I mean, 10 assists. Not too shabby. Involved in half of the kills LGD have got. Well, Collapse was wandering back through his own jungle. Still has that full 9-second duration BKB ready. So he's not going to worry too much about this Void Spirit Aghanims in the meantime. And Queen of Pain, the most important one right now. Just a couple hundred away, 300 gold. So another wave bottom, maybe the large camp. We'll see if Yatoro gives us some of the triangle to farm as well, but that's got to be a key moment.
Even with the BKBs online for Spirit, you're still playing into Rock, you're playing into Static Link and Basher from the Bear. Like, there's overwhelming amount of physical damage coming out from him. Roshan gonna respawn in 5 seconds. Let's see if they have a smoke. They need to respond to this.
Yeah, they're all grouping up. This is absolutely an indication LGD want to go and make their mark on the map. 2 BKBs purchased at the same time, Marcy and Queen of Pain on opposing sides. They smoke, and Roshan's just respawned. They don't poke their heads in the pit just yet. And they're playing into a dark area of the map, no vision, so it's just going to be that first point of contact. They spot, they see, they move in with Faith Beyond, and nothing to say, but the BKBs around from Collapse in Toronto, Tokyo. They cancel a TP, though. A golem dropped in on the Bloodseeker's head, and Yatoro, always being drifted around, the full staff push, gets him away from danger.
They try to be sneaky, hide inside those trees, but the smoke broke, and instantly Fate Beyond uses Plasma Field, scouts them out. The Rock also committed, and they got a kill. One of the reasons why Razor's going to be able to move in the fights is he does have a Lincoln Sphere, so gonna cancel that Rupture and also going for Refresher. So you will have double BKB, double Lincolns, and you're going to be extremely hard to deal with.
Yeah, Razor one of those few heroes that doesn't really need you know, any damage items, any real key core items outside of defensive ones. BKB refresher, BKB Lincoln's refresher, all perfect for him. And Roshan with Aghanim Shard. Who do you reckon we give it to? Because Warlock and Lone Druid have theirs already.
I think Razor's going to pick it up, or he can give it to Void Spirit. I think that's better, because he's in the middle of the pack. Well, not anymore. He's all 3 cores of PSG.LGD top net worth.
I guess that's what happens when you take down all the towers for like 15 minutes in, right? You got all that tier 1, tier 2 money. Miposhka picked off by the Marcy. Xingqiu just getting a solo kill on the opponent. Position 5. Mira going to force Staff away, and some good cogs placements there, going to keep him safe. Toronto Tokyo does take down, nothing to say though. As Faithbjorn keeps going. Kills off the Clockwork up north.
They got a big kill. They did kill Void Spirit, but at what cost? They lost, again, 2 supports, and also Lone Druid is ready to go for the high ground. They just need Wave to connect. We're talking about Lone Druid that almost has a full AC. He actually has enough money, just needs to buy it. This tower is gone. Lincoln Sphere on the bear and sidekick, plus Mask of Madness and the heal. Let's just make this another hero.
Good luck dealing with him. Savage Raw to make them a bit speedier. But that is tier 3 down. Racks are wide open now. Still 5 seconds for the Void Spirit to respawn, and it looks like LGD just going to chill out for a second, as they know Team Spirit are 5 alive with that defender's advantage in their base, with potential buybacks. As we know, Queen of Pain and Clockwork, the only 2 currently with it. Toronto Tokyo doing a decent job, just shoving out that bottom lane, trying to force a reaction from LGD. I just don't see them really caring about a tier 2. They're going to go into this top spot, take down the buildings. Bear getting focused down by Poshka and Yatoro.
From Y.
Well, they've killed off the racks already, disposing the bear back, rebounding out of there, and the AoE heal from Warlock, keeping them all topped up. And this is now going to be a move, what, into mid lane? Go round 2, do you reckon?
Yeah, most definitely. But the mid is pushed in, near tier 1 tower. So they need to push it out, and Razor's going to be doing that. Setsu is the most important. We're talking about Setsu the bear. Is the most important hero in this game. Like, you see, they force staff him, they put the sidekick on top of him. AC is done, has a Mindbreaker as well, so a lot of minus armor. Silence coming out, 1-2 hits and gone.
See ya! Easy pickings on the Viper, and they get the D-Ward as well. That Vision, Team Spirit really wanted some Vision outside their base to start a team fight.
At one point, you will have to take the fight. You have to take a fight, lose a fight, and start thinking about the next game, because they just don't have the answers for it.
Like Yatoro, he's just got to go in. There is no option. You can't sit and wait. LGD are breaking you apart. Xingqiu ruptured, but like you said, he doesn't care. He's baited that, and he's soaked it for his team. And the golem, in we go. Toronto Tokyo. Oh, they've caught Yatoro as well. Faithbjorn is godlike, picking up that kill on a CK. No buyback for him. And Mira in trouble as well. Decent defensive hook shot, but like you said, Lacoste, there are no answers. Team Spirit cannot battle this LGD side. It looks like the game might just be over at this point. Mega creeps will start arriving. And really, the cause of Team Spirit falling flat on their faces. They've got summons galore as Lone Druid sends his bear, Warlock with his golem, charge them forward, and force Collapse to fight to his own death. And there's the GG.
Very one-sided game. PSG.LGD outclassed them in game number 1. Like, all the lanes pretty much except the mid lane went in their favor. Mid was pretty even, but yeah, looking at the top lane specifically, Marcy and Razor, they completely dumpstered that lane. And also bottom lane, there was no real aggression, because Wise Warlock was always on point. Either heal the bear, heal Ame. And when they try to go for the bear that one time, Rupture, he gets a kill, he gets a tower after that, and also not allowing them to heal. Warlock's Fatal Bonds in the laning stage, very obnoxious, especially if you have any kind of damage that you can throw into. And sometimes it does become difficult, because we're talking about 2 melee heroes playing into Lone Druid. So you know that the bear's gonna hit you and the hero's gonna hit you as well.
And don't forget how that started as well, right? The bear got killed at the start of the game. 300 gold, 300 XP. experience towards Team Spirit, and we were kind of wondering whether or not they'd have a good laning stage off the back of that. LGD just playing, you know, world-class Dota 2. They are showing they are one of the strong,
absolutely.
still top dogs.
They are. We wanted to see them on LAN for a very long time. First game after being absent for like 10 months.
Oh, wow,
I believe. Yeah. And what a showing. I think everyone expected them to be strong. Everyone wanted to see them play on LAN, and they delivered game one.
I absolutely did. Maybe back to the drawing board draft-wise for Team Spirit. But at this point, I think we can hand it back to Avo and the panel.
Thank you, Gareth. Lacoste. What a game by LGD. I mean, we had high expectations for them, and I think they delivered. That Lone Druid Marcy combo, we've seen it before, but it never ceases to amaze me.
Not just the Lone Druid Marcy combo, right? I was talking about it from the very beginning. Faith Beyond, not Chalice, was playing very effectively with that Marcy. It's just such a strong lane, man. Miposhka, he was able to get one kill up against the Razor, but it's just not enough. You dominate the lane way too hard, and Ame, it's just Ame, man. The amount of farm he was able to get. JJ, and their valuable stats team, of course, making sure to highlight the fact that it was the most last hits, it was the highest net worth, it was the most building damage that anyone had done in that super early stage of the game.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's PSG.LGD's first game of the tournament, I think we had, what, like 7 best of 2s yesterday, and there was already most assists ever, most net worth ever, I mean, holy moly. I mean, this is Team Spirit, right? Like, this is, you know, it was probably supposed to be a bit of a more even matchup, I think, is the way I saw it going into this one, but this was a completely one-sided game. Lacoste is like, yeah, this is going to feel like a 5v4, and out from the laning stage, it really felt like that. I mean, this is just like a highlight replay of how well this top lane looked, and really what little impact this Viper had the entire game.
Yeah, I think this might have been one of the fights that you had some level of impact, maybe. Never mind, this is the great Fatal Pods coming through.
Yeah.
But basically the issue was, there was a previous replay as well where Toronto Tokyo, he goes in, but then you're in, you know, as a Queen of Pain against this lineup that's just able to demolish you once you don't have that blink available. And so it just makes it so difficult to be able to play around that. You need to full-on commit with the Quap, which is why I just don't like it. You need to literally be like 15-0 to be able to have that consistent impact throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, and right here, well, luckily we've got it in the replay. Like, they're so far ahead already, 16 minutes in, they just drop a Golem to kill a Viper who had not enough mana for its TP.
But I like that point, though, because that shows the mentality of LGD. They understood that they were literally giving no ground for the enemy team to recover and get pickoffs, because that was one of their strengths, supposedly, their lineup. It just, they couldn't execute it against LGD.
It never came online for them, unfortunately. I also think, like, what was it, like this Bloodseeker last pick, right? Like, I think for the offlane specifically, that is something that can work, but he ruptures the bear at level 6 and he tries to 1v1 it, and the bear wins the fight. And then because LD, early game hero with lifesteal, I mean, he just takes the tower, and the game gets so difficult for there, you know, irregardless of how all the other lanes are going.
I still think it was a godly Bloodseeker pick. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was literally good against 4 of the heroes on LGD's side. It just didn't get to that. Even the mid game, to be honest. Like, this was very early mid game that we got to once the GGs were dropped. And I mean, Miposhka's Viper, it didn't do what it needed to do. You know, it was a great counter picks coming through from LGD to make sure that the lane went fantastic for themselves. So I think the Viper, the Quap, those were the 2 things that needed to change. You know, give yourself some way to transition into that mid game with some level of effectiveness.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
To add to that Bloodseeker pick, would you have maybe rather seen the Bloodseeker as a carry versus the CK offlane here?
I think the strategy was, look, we just got to try and win this lane with our Viper. We've gone a 5 Viper, we've telegraphed it, this is what we're going for. What are you going to do? Play passively? No. You got to try and make sure that you're able to get that those kills if you could. They tried to. They got, like, I think the lane started out with 1 kill to 1 kill, so they would have been happy with that. Obviously,
abusing level 1 Razor.
Yeah. First Blood went to LGD, so obviously not ideal. Spirit would have loved to have that, so they had that to springboard off of, but I think they just thought the lane would go a lot better than it did.
Yep. Yeah, and I was like looking at replays. I was like, have they ever run the Lone Druid before? Have they run this with Marcy? Is this like a strat they like to do?
2 years.
Yeah, last 2 years, but they do actually like this Marcy Razor combo as well, and they played it into CK, and they've completely wiped Aster with it in 24 minutes. It was a game just like this, so I'm sure PSG.LGD very much in a comfort zone here in game 1.
Was that the game where they told him we're going to teach him, like they're going to show him what they can do? The original finals?
Getting a little...
Yeah, cocky, they're like, we're going to put them down in their place again.
Yeah.
Okay, that is quite the storyline for LGD, but I mean, this game, they just look kind of unstoppable. What could have been the replacement for the Quap pick? Because Viper, fair enough, its first pick, it's going to get countered, but that Quap seemed a little bit out of place.
honestly, any other Spirit hero, to be honest. Like, even Storm.
By Spirit, you mean the Spirit Bros, not Team Spirit Hero.
The Spirit Bros,
Okay.
yes. Because they didn't have a way to get on top of the Warlock outside of the Clockwork, and it felt like Clockwork needed to be a response to the Razor, but then Bloodseeker was also focused on the Razor, but then he also had to focus on the Lone Druid. Like, it was a very good Bloodseeker pick. It was an even better Lone Druid pick, to be honest, coming through from LGD. Again, picking up something that they hadn't for such a long time. So I just think they needed multiple ways to be able to invade that backline and prevent Y from having as good of a game as he did, because he was on point with those Fatal Bonds, with Chaotic Offering, always hitting onto at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, and the CC just wasn't that good. Like, obviously the last pick, Bloodseeker, and maybe that's not what they had in mind for their last pick when they picked up the Quap. You know, they probably would have gone for more AoE control, lockdown, you know, on the mid laner, but it was severely lacking as well in terms of team fight. And the Bear was just way too far ahead for them to even string that together. They didn't have like a prayer, it felt like, against the Bear.
If they could have got to like second Roche and picked up the Aghanim Shard for themselves, for the Bloodseeker, maybe. But yeah, never got to that stage.
Well, we have Game 2 still for Team Spirit to recover, and Game 2 will have a very different draft, so hopefully Team Spirit can fix some of the mistakes in the first game, or maybe LGD will look a little bit too strong. Before that, we're going to take a small break and come back with the analysis for this second game of the series.
Progress is a race that has no end. After every finish line, another challenge awaits. How can we continue to push innovation in a sport at the forefront of technology? This is how. Discover how Aramco and the Aston Martin Formula One team aim to meet Formula One's sustainable fuel targets. Aramco, powered by How.
With Game 2 closing in on us, we're excited to watch Team Spirit yet again versus LGD, and we're hoping to see a more even game this Game 2.
You gotta get past the laning stage and early mid game to give yourselves a chance. I mean, Team Spirit, they had some pretty clutch moments, you know, where they were behind, being able to get those skewers back towards the fountain, back at TI. Obviously, that's a long way away.
Right, I was wondering, like, what was the Magnus in game 1?
Yeah.
Way back. We're thinking back. We're going
Okay.
We're reminiscing, right? We're reminiscing, and I think Spirit might need to not reminisce about game 1, honestly. I think that the nice thing about best of 2s is, like, you just play for every single game, right? It's a group stage. You don't necessarily have to be worried about, oh, we need to do this, we need to save a strat for, like, game 3. It's just every single game is an all-out brawl. So, I mean, I think they are a team who can reset. They've shown us that in the past, especially when they've taken some pretty rough losses, and they can really fight back versus the Chinese team especially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually when a team loses game 1, game 2, they tend to go for the go-to strategy is the strong lanes, right? Make sure you at least get to that mid-game, as you said. How can they do that? Because they already tried with a Viper, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, I just want to see more synergy, honestly, with a lot of their picks.
Okay.
Like, when you see a Clockwork, a Viper, Queen of Pain, like, what are they actually doing together? And then you compare that to LGD, where you've got a Lone Druid Bear enabled by a Marcy, you've got a Razor enabled by a Marcy, you've got all of this AoE damage enabled by the Warlock. Like, it's just crazy amounts that logically fit together really well. So I think that's what they need, and they need something that's just going to win the laning stage a lot more reliably, that has that late game potential.
Yep. Yeah, I think, like, in game 1, they had some plays to make for sure, like, but the resources that they needed to expend in each and every single kind of pick-off they were to make, it was just simply too expensive. You know, even if you kill Lone Druid, he respawns in 20 seconds, you got another minute left until Rupture, another 2 until Sonic Wave, and he takes 2 towers in that time. Like, it's just way too punishing of a lineup in the early game for them. They need to be a bit better. Void Spirit, he excels in this, right? He gets spells every 30 seconds, he's ready to go. That's, I think, what they needed more in the early game.
The Razor Marcy lane, very famously called the alley-oop lane, right? Because you can just throw someone in and then Razor just dunks on them. And Team Spirit have actually been preparing for this lane for a while. Didn't really work out, but we're going to watch some of their training as we check out their basketball skills. After seeing this piece of content, I'm starting to understand why that lane has struggled so much. That is not a regulation hoop. Like, there's no way you can play basketball on that.
The man was tryharding so hard. You saw him sprinting to pick up those balls from the ground. I love it. I love it.
He didn't speak the whole time either. That was real concentration.
Intense focus.
I think they did him dirty as well. That table was like a
Way
coffee
too
table. I mean, poor guy as well. His eyes weren't lined up. I mean, it was pretty brutal.
He had that gamer posture, Golem get you gone, you know, all that stuff.
That's good. That's the posture everyone should play Dota in, actually. Yeah. It improves your skill level because you're closer to the screen, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for this game too, we've already witnessed their basketball skills, but how about their Dota skills? What is it that we need to find for Team Spirit in game 2? And in that mid lane specifically, what can we do for Toronto Tokyo to have an easier game?
I wouldn't hate seeing something like an Ember Spirit. You still win most lanes, right? As long as you're not directly counted. I also want to see Miposhka not something that's only good early. I was really wanting him to see him go like a Bane, for example. Good against the Razor, you've got that BKB piercing disable, you're strong in the lane, basically almost as strong as the Viper that you were going for, and it would have meant that with the Bloodseeker, you could have potentially put it into that lane, right? You can use the Nightmare to be able to set up for the Blood Right. Obviously, they didn't know how the entire draft was going to pan out, but it gives you options, right? Viper does not give you many options.
True.
I want to see Exort Invoker back. I think you just bring it back. I mean, BZM, he didn't do Exort, unfortunately. But, you know, Crossflex Invoker over the mid lane. Maybe just like a comfort hero. A hero that's going to do fine in the laning stage. A hero that is going to have plays to make some rotations. A nice itemization. I mean, it was like a Vessel at like 23 minutes for this Queen of Pain.
It's kind of dead, though.
I mean, for sure. I mean, for sure,
Exort
right?
Invoker? Or
Invoker. Invoker in general, for sure.
All right.
Water rune's too strong. Tower regen too strong. You can't, like, out-trade the enemy team anymore.
Sure. But it is true that he does fulfill that role. you talk about that Ember Spirit, right? Space Creator doesn't rely on any play, so you're just good anyway in the first 10 minutes of the game. So maybe that's the way for Toronto Tokyo. More early game presence, more options, like you were saying.
And just being able to get that +1. You can never get a +1 as a Queen of Pain, ever.
Right.
Like, you're blinking in, you're using all of your spells, like we said. They need to commit so much just to get the most basic of kills. Just find why. I think that's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Find why on the backlines, remove him from the team fight, because that's really... It almost felt like they couldn't team fight if Y was dead, right? They needed that stun, they needed that BKB piercing disable, they needed that extra damage to really push their team fight over the line on LGD.
That's kind of why I liked more of like this higher skill ceiling hero. Heroes that can make more moves. Queen of Pain, a bit more simple what she's going to do, right? She's got a kind of a set strategy, and you can go for some nice lineups and punish poor positioning, but that's about the extent of it, right?
I don't even know what the strategy is anymore with Queen of Pain, because she used to be like, oh yeah, win lane, and now, well, Water Runes. Are you really winning lane?
Nope.
Does anyone win lane anymore?
And then you can go for like these more ballsy plays as well on your supports, and then just refill the bottle in addition to 2-minute water rune, 4-minute water rune, 6-minute power rune, bounty runes constantly. It's like, it's way too much. So I think the co-op, and it kind of suffers from the same fate as the Invoker, is that enemies are just able to be fine despite the fact that you should be out-sustaining them.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what they change there. Another point that I saw that they struggle a little bit, right, is they have nobody to make plays around in the early game, right?
Yes.
They depend on good lanes, but then afterwards, Bloodseeker Clock is somewhat of a combo, but definitely not the kill combo that we love.
It was almost all on Clockwork.
Yes.
Basically. That's the big thing. You need multiple avenues to do anything in the game. Like, I'm a big, let's call me a hater of things that, like, you go all in onto one hero only being able to push. I think if you've got 2 heroes that can push, then suddenly you're...
So with push, sorry, do you mean like shove lanes, or do you mean pushing towers? What are you referring to?
Both. Like, I don't want to see like any kind of games where you've got like a Nyx as a support paired together with a Warlock, because you just don't shove lanes, right? It's very hard to do that. Sure, you've got decent team fight, but you're really lacking in that regard, or you need to make up for it elsewhere in the draft. So if you can have like 2 heroes that push, couple of stuns, couple of really good lanes, so at least you're breaking even or coming out 1 lane ahead. I think that's the real balance that you need to be striking, and just being more efficient as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the support duo, I think they kind of had that issue. Clockwork, Viper, they would like to be around the map. Individually, these heroes, not together. They'd like to be around the map, looking to make plays. Viper breaking smokes, Clockwork setting up on these hook shots onto heroes. But, you know, you had a Bloodseeker and a Quap into a pretty tough matchup there, so she couldn't just boldly push waves. So it was pretty rough. They didn't have anyone to play with.
Even just something like an Enchantress instead of the Viper would have been better, right? You're able to bully relatively effectively. Sure, once BKBs come out, you're a lot less effective, but you can play that scouting role. It's not all up onto the Clockwork who you want to be your playmaker. We were talking before about Poshka. One of his big strengths is being able to get that vision out onto the map. You can't do that as a Viper. You're just dead if you get gone on Enchantress. You've got a little bit of survivability once you hit level 6. You have talents that give you the extra magic resist. So I really want to see them go down that route, or, like I was saying before, something that's still really effective in that mid to late game that gives you options like the Bane, like the Winter Wyvern. And credit to PSG.LGD, last game, Wyvern was their priority. They banned that out in the first phase.
And now Spirit with first pick, I really want to see what they're going to pick up first, because that Razor kind of determined not only the entire draft, but also, as we saw, the pace of the game early on, right? Exactly. Kind of really defined LGD's style. I want to see how Spirit are going to respond. I can't imagine we're going to change too much here in the early, the first phase of bans anyway, right? And so far, pretty identical. But eager to see what Spirit are going to end up first picking.
They've always been a team that with first pick, you can say they excel, right? Because they like to be the threat first in the draft. Like to pick the one strong hero, and then you go, now counter me, I dare you, right? And because they like to outplay their opponents, the counters don't seem as strong for Team Spirit. So maybe this is a part where, you know, they are great 8th pick abusers. We'll see if this is an improvement.
I like that, because I'm going to draw a chess analogy and be a little bit like Winter, right?
Yes.
It's like when you play white first, you need to kind of determine the pace of the game. You play the openings, and then eventually when you start going off script, off of like the lines, and you start relying on just your skill and intuition, that's where these Eastern European teams, I like to say, have the edge.
Right. Well, that's what PSG.LGD did so well at TI, obviously up until the grand finals, is that they said, hey, we're doing Tiny Lycan with our first phase, deal with it. And it was up to the enemy teams to do it, and the only one that could was Team Spirit. So let's see if they're able to do it this time around.
And a ban on the Marcy, I don't blame it. Yeah, I don't blame it. That Marcy was absolutely out of control. I mean, sure, the lane was awful. Viper did nothing, right? But I mean, I would want to get rid of that just for the mental reset, right? Like, just make sure he's not on a comfortable hero, right? If it works for him, just take it away.
Yeah, I like the fact that they got rid of the Beastmaster as well. Again, it's a hero that gives you options. That's my big thing, right? You're not completely locked down if the enemy goes an Enchantress. You can just go into the Axes. You've got BKB Piercing Stun. You've got Push. You've got a Steroid for your teammates with the Inner Beast Aura. You know,
Vision as well.
Like, it's a crazy hero that provides so much. So I love that LGD are banning it out. It's also Collapse's most played hero over the most recent tour.
It's also hard to like completely shut out his game plan, right? Like Beastmaster usually gets his way one way or another in the early, no matter how bad his lane is.
This is incredible. Spirit are still thinking about their first pick, by the way. Maybe they thought they'd get the Beastmaster, but the fact that they did have...
All the papers are flying. Well, what's happening? We don't have a Beastmaster.
I mean, stuff is maybe not going too well. Okay, there it is. It's the Wyvern. They're going to go for it. It was banned against them last time. I don't mind opening with a 5 like this. Like you said, it's going to be that big team fight impact throughout the rest of the game. One of the very few 5s with a game-changing, a team fight reset, right, built in. And immediately into the Razor again.
First pick, second pick, we'll do the same thing. Razor for repositioning.
They got to pick something that's going to go on the backlines right now on Team Spirit. I wouldn't hate to see them go Avoid Spirit just to be able to get that gap closing potential. Yeah, if you're really on point with the silence on the Earth Spirit, it makes life a little bit harder, but you've got a way to be able to get away from the Razor already with the Wyvern. You've got a BKB Piercing Disable, you will have Astral Step, you will have Dissimulate, and I think if you leave Warlock in the pool, LGD will pick it against you. 100%. They run this combo, the Razor, the Earth Spirit, and the Warlock consistently in the China DPC, and there's no reason why they wouldn't do it again.
Yeah. I love the Void Spirit as well, because you get the Gags, and then Earth Spirit running into you is kind of he might kill himself by accident, so...
Yeah, but already I'm liking this Wyvern pick much more, right? Laning as a 5, it's going to be not just free food to this Razor +1 lane, right? You have the range, you outrange them, and you're going to be able to move around the map. They're going to open the Bloodseeker.
Don't hate it. Again, you're up against 2 heroes that have a lot of mobility. Good combo as well, like a couple of slows for the laning stage if it is going to be a position 1. But of course, you know, again, it's just countering 2 heroes on LGD's side. But please, Spirit, you got to ban the Warlock. It's still just so good this game. And they've got a lot of damage that's still just going to go through the Cold Embrace as well, so it's not like you can even just say, oh, we'll be able to withstand a lot of it.
Right, and what I like about picking the Bloodseeker here, like 8th pick or 4th pick, whatever you want to call it, is last game when they picked the Bloodseeker, it was a good Bloodseeker game against the enemy 5 heroes,
but they needed a lot of
wasn't good with his team, right? And that was really the big issue. Now they can kind of draft around this in mind, as they will take out that Warlock.
Good. They need to do that, absolutely.
Good adaptation, though. Very quick.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? And this is where you want to be building your draft around if your first pick, like Team Spirit, is this game. This Bloodseeker has the potential to win them this game because now they can just set up around it. They can ban out a lot of the other heroes that are going to make life a lot more difficult for him, or that are going to increase the tempo to an extent that you're not able to truly come online. When Bloodseeker comes online, it's like Maelstrom, BKB, Aghanim Shard, if you can get it. Maybe a Basher on top of things, but that is when you're at your peak effectiveness.
Yeah, and LGD, like with these bans in particular, I mean, Tiny, of course, none of these bans are like anything too crazy out of the ordinary, but I'd be eager to see what their next ban is, because it seems like, yeah, they do not want this to be a fast game from Spirit. LGD want to be in control of the tempo of this game for sure with these bans.
How much Zoo do you get rid of? Do you get rid of all of them? Do you get rid of the Visage as well?
I mean, sometimes, you know, you see the Night Stalker picked up to kind of counter the Zoo as well. It seems like that's not going to be their option. They want to continue flexing the Razor, but I don't know if it's so much about... I mean, I guess Zoo naturally brings you the faster push, right? And therefore increases the game. But yeah, maybe they're just not a fan of it. Earth Spirit really struggles against it. Razor struggles against it, so...
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit have the potential to go late game with this one, right? Again, Wyvern, great late game. Bloodseeker, great late game.
Yeah, he scales.
And you've got 2 heroes that... Bloodseeker doesn't really want to be the one dropping the Blood Rights, but you can shove out waves pretty effectively with both of these heroes. Yeah. Wyvern especially. Like, you could play in the trees unless you're really on point. I mean, it's Jinku Earth Spirit. You probably are going to be with your rolls. It's hard to catch, right? So maybe that's the avenue that Spirit want to go down. They love picking the Wyvern alongside the Phoenix. I know it's not something that is going to dive onto the backlines, but you could just set up for so many great eggs with the Winter's Curse into a Supernova and just have that stronger team fight.
And now Richie, they take out the Bane on Spirit, so we're literally getting rid of all the 5s. They have the BK Piercing Disable.
Yep.
What is the option? How do you deviate now into your 5s here for
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, it's a little bit crazy, to be honest, but against a Bloodseeker, I really wouldn't mind a Shadow Demon at this stage, right?
Bloodseeker is very good against Bloodseeker.
Demonic Purge, right? You've got to save potentially. Yes, potentially some setup against the Blood, right? But Demonic Purge completely ruins this hero. It's already kind of a game for Bloodseeker, as I think Sexy Fat always pointed out on our panels. He needs BKB to fight. Like, it's impossible. This hero feels a little bit bad already into Earth Spirit, already into Razor, and now is Zeus. Like, he needs BKB. I don't know. I'm not completely against the Shadow Demon as far as supports go. It's not really a hero you see too much because his lane's awful, and he was mostly picked against DPs, but I wouldn't mind it here.
I'm not against it.
Still don't hate the Phoenix, though. They pretty much don't have an egg hitter. Like,
What, for
Razor,
LGD? Or for Spirit?
for Spirit.
Okay.
I think it'd be totally fine. You know, you're up against heroes that are going to scale reasonably into the later stages. Again, Zeus wants to be playing on the back lines.
Yep.
It's most likely going to be nothing to say playing this one here, but I don't know. I'm preferring Team Spirit's draft a lot more this game, but they're almost already out of reserve time. They go for the Wisp pick, actually. Okay, so there's something a little bit different.
Interesting. They're big fans of the Wisp as a 4 with a strong offlaner. Bloodseeker is perfect for that idea, but it also opens up the pool now for Collapse, right? Like, even the ideas of Mars and Slardar and all these heroes that are
That's
not
the
very
one I'm
popular.
thinking of. Slardar, to me, I think is the big combo. The Mars was definitely the one.
And the TI
in
combo.
The previous, the TI combo, even at Stockholm, we saw that a couple times. Just because the sustain is quite simply ridiculous, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's so hard to really fight into that lane.
Love it. Love this Storm Spirit pick. I mean, you're going up against with an IO rather, so you've got that refilling potential. And like I was saying before, you need a way to be able to dive onto the backlines. Laning stage, you don't have too much threat of dying because you're both going to be very happy in this mid lane. Nothing to say as well as Toronto Tokyo. They're just going to be buying up their stick. They get the bottle. They're going to be farming small camps. Unless there's a rotation coming through from the Earth Spirit, they're both going to get a good amount of farm. So I'm really liking this for Team Spirit. Obviously, it's not meta anymore, but this is like a Toronto Tokyo staple. So I'm loving that they're going for comfort as well.
Yeah, it's a very good pick. Something to as well, like speed up the Storm Spirit scam. He's been significantly nerfed ever since the triple null tally days or quad or quintuple null tallies. You know, however many you wanted to buy. That's not, I think, what we're going to end up seeing here, most likely.
Hopefully.
But yeah, hopefully, because they did change what made that so good on the null talismans.
Yeah, just Witchblade build. That's still very strong.
Witchblade build, right? But he's going to get there even faster. You might even get a second item a bit faster than, say, like a Razor would be comfortable with, right? And I think that's why it's so good with this Wisp. You're just the mana battery. This guy farms with mana.
Could they Grimstroke here on LGD side? I mean, it's pretty decent, you know, up against any kind of IO combination. They don't have too many spells, of course, that are going to be combining together with the Soulbind, but, I mean, they could just go for position 1 that fits that mold pretty well. They go the Nyx instead. Okay, taking some inspiration from the Wise Man Kaka.
Yeah, and I like that a little bit better. I think the silence against the Storm, like we needed a +1 for this Storm, basically.
Yep.
Maybe you can catch him with Vendetta super easily, right? You just stand in the creep camp and then with Vendetta and Carapace, and you set up for a super easy kill.
Yep.
Very strong against the Bloodseeker, very strong against the Wyvern as well for the similar reasons. Something to actually play ahead and give vision to Earth Spirit in order to like facilitate some easier rolls, and then all of a sudden Earth Spirit rolls onto you, Zeus ulti, Nyx Vendetta, like that's an immense amount of burst damage. And pretty easy to execute on LGD.
It's a lot of unavoidable damage that Team Spirit are doing, right? You drop the Blood Right, you've got the Spirits running, you've got the Static Remnant, you've got a Splinter Blast. It's gonna hit the Nyx Assassin if he's in position A, and I mean, it's Innocence. He'll be in position A.
Yeah, but here with the Nyx 5, though, you are looking into a weaker lane, and usually with a ranged carry, that's why the TA gets banned immediately. What are some options that could be here for LGD to make sure they don't get run over there?
It's kind of tricky, right? Because with the Wyvern, like normally it'd be like, well, Luna, your gyros, and that's, I mean, not gyro in this meta, but you know, we've seen a couple of Lunas.
DOTA was probably the one, to be honest, right? They didn't have amazing burst, and you're still able to do some damage against the Cold Embrace coming through, so that would have been pretty decent. I don't think it's a Terrorblade game at all. Wyverns love playing against Terrorblade.
Storm as well. One big zip zap and he is dead. That can be particularly tough for him.
You can't play gyro. Like, it's just without a Wisp, it's not a hero in my eyes.
Drow against Storm is terrible as well. It's not really a good idea either.
Yeah, because he just zips to the other side of you, and that's particularly tough. DOTA with a turn rate, of course.
You have Clinks as one of the last options. That could still...
Ooh, Collapse Mars, all right.
Yeah, we talked about this, right? It opens up because of the IO pick, and now they have an early game strat. But the answer is, against the Mars, Luna becomes a little bit better, right? Popular counter is also the PA. That was a favorite one, but against Bloodseeker, that's impossible.
I mean, the threat of the Wyvern is, you know, outstanding here, of course, but I would still maybe go for the Luna. Like you said, the glaives bouncing around. Naturally, Wisp is always going to be near one of these heroes, so you're going to be bouncing on those glaives and like you can't underestimate that in fights.
Yeah.
And also bouncing glaives through the arena walls, like it's so valuable here. I would consider it.
Just trying to think if they can't face this void. The lanes are way too bad for it. Do they, again, like what I was saying before, put Ame on the Razor position 1? Razor paired together with a Nyx is pretty good, right? You just put yourself in front of the Razor whenever you're going. He tries to spear you away, just drop Carapace, and then suddenly you're not able to run away quite as easily. So maybe it's a pos 3 that they're waiting for right now on LGD's side.
That'd be pretty cool, actually. I wouldn't mind seeing that. There's a bit of counterplay there with the Nyx Carapace, exactly as you highlighted. Yeah. The thing is, like, a Spirit might still be able to out-execute in that lane, so it's slightly risky, right? Because then your Razor gets a bad start.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
I was a little worried that now that they've got the Wyvern, this is something that you wouldn't be as effective with, of course. Like, Lone Druid's damage is almost entirely physical. You've got the Winter's Curse, of course. Bear's going to hit someone, basically, right? So I was considering it just because it is one of those ranged-ish heroes for the laning stage, but I'm worried for the mid-game. So I'm much more confident in Spirit's draft this game. It's still LGD, though, so I'm not sure if it's going to be enough.
Okay, so you're starting with one draft, but with one team as well, right? And then they're on separate sides of the equation.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Richie?
Yeah, I do like this LGD lineup a bit as well. The thing is, they have to get the initiations right. They've got the Zeus advantage naturally. They've got Nyx who can play into that as well. But you are playing against Spirit, right? One of their highlights was always Vision. They don't have the best Vision, granters in this game, but with like a Wisp, a Mars to break smokes, maybe with a couple of good sentries, the Spirit might be able to get the right counter initiations.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to see as Game 2 is upon us, and upon us are also a great pair of casters. Gareth and Lacoste, take it away.
Well, a looking draft for LGD. Team Spirit, though, coming out with a lot more team fight, a lot more ways to react to what LGD brought in Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like their draft a little bit more than in Game 1. Still favoring what LGD have because they have very good vision game. They do have 2 melee supports, which is something that usually we don't see.
Yeah.
But when Nyx is paired up with like Lone Druid, because Lone Druid is a self-sustainable hero, so I don't think you care too much. The lane I'm looking at is the safe lane for Team Spirit because they did make some changes. This time around, it's going to be Bloodseeker plus Wyvern played in the safe lane. And we were talking about when they already picked it. I feel like they do have enough what it takes to be able to deal with the Razor this time around. It's also Razor plus the Earth Spirit. We don't see too much of the Earth Spirit lately. Sometimes I think the big reason why we don't see this hero so often. Oh, this is cool. This looks beautiful.
I thought they were real. When you've got the golden ticker tape coming out at the end of TI, I thought that was all real, but now it's all in the augmented reality. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, to go back to Earth Spirit point, everyone gets an early BKB. Like we're talking about 2 cores, maybe even 3 cores. Not as much after the BKB changes, but it's still good. Like if we're talking about this Razor from the off lane, that's going to be a BKB. So he does get shut down like in certain games. But yeah, I want to see what Jin Q can do. Like Jin Q on a position 4, his performance on Marcy in the previous game was top tier, and want to see what he can do with the Earth Spirit.
Yeah, and I suppose one of the greatest strengths of having, you're talking about these 2 melee support heroes, but they've got the ability to gap close, face tank ganks, move into these dark areas of the map, scout people out, and more importantly, get onto the Io and Wyvern, who are heroes that sit in the backlines very naturally. We'll see what they can get involved with early on. Team Spirit going to come down bottom, try and safeguard one of these bounty runes. Well, up at the top spot, Blood Right's out. And we'll get the bounty rune in there for Y, and Yatoro being body blocked by Faith Pian, but he'll get to tower, no problems. Hiding behind the trees there, but he's a little bit stuck now. How do I get back to late?
I see. You should.
Got a long walk across.
Arctic Burn and Bloodright will be ready when they come back to the lane. They need to play aggressive in this lane. Also, the way Team Spirit adapted to the draft was they wanted to reset the fight. Like they thought the Razor was big deal, and they wanted to have like multiple ways of resetting. We're talking about the Relocate, we're talking about the Vibrant Ulti and Cold Embrace. So there's not that much magical damage other than there is. Never mind, I just lied. We have Zeus and Earth Spirit, so that's a decent amount for people who are put under the Cold Embrace.
Yeah, try and pump that damage into them. Mirror and collapse down bottom. Oh, nothing to say. Gonna leap forward. Little jump in there towards Toronto Tokyo. Currently 5-0 for the Storm, though. That's what we expect Storm to continue free farming here. There's no real kill threat from either side, is there?
No, I don't think anyone's going to die, but the full wave is approaching Zeus, so nothing to say is going to get some extra CS. Usually Storm Spirit a counter to Zeus, but we haven't seen Storm Spirit being popular lately. Not because of the nerfs that he got in the latest patch, it's more about the null talisman. These are like indirect changes. Before people were getting like 4 or 5 nulls. It was pretty obnoxious to play against the Storm Spirit. I think this hero is like not in a good spot right now. They needed something. Yeah, exactly. They needed someone that can get on top of Zeus, but Zeus does have Heavenly Jump, so it's not that bad for him anymore.
Yeah, he can maybe create that gap between him and the Storm. Toronto Tokyo, though, giving as good as he takes from nothing to say. Trading damage in that mid lane. And up top, Jinkyu and Faith Beyond, they're always ready just to get in on top of Miposhka. Similar situation to the Viper, right? If you are out of position ever so slightly, even with a Cold Embrace there, you can have all of your damage drained. And a right click from Faith Beyond, they come through thick and fast. Still not going to bring him down, and a turnaround there onto Jinkyu. Will, yet again, just get another trade out.
Good understanding from Miposhka. He needs Cold Embrace level 2 instead of getting the Splinter Blast. It's more about the defense, but they still have a good offense as well. I also want to see like sidelines, because if look at the hero portrait stop, everyone's sitting at like half HP on side of LGD, so maybe it's time to go for Bloodseeker, especially when they hit level 3. Put another point in Thirst. He has Boots of Speed coming to him, so he will be able to outmaneuver this Razor and break the static link potentially, especially if there's no connection from the Earth Spirit, and make a turnaround play. Yeah,
it's a rare attribute, isn't it? Being able to take advantage of that regen trade early on. You know, the majority of the first 4 minutes or so is about tangos, salves, keeping yourself topped up and in fighting shape. And of course, Bloodseeker, if you're winning those regen trades, he is someone that can absolutely abuse that fact.
You also don't care too much about the physical damage coming up from Razor, because you have 7 armor on Bloodseeker. And Setsu, going back to base. Setsu Bear. We're going to talk about Ame, but last game, masterclass performance. This time around, struggling. He's pretty much at the bottom. 6 CS, Collapse Mars, 17, 18 CS, and 7 denies.
What's that down to? Is Collapse playing incredibly well, or is this a matchup problem?
It's Nyx Assassin not providing you much as a position 5, and also having Io does have extra region, so he also decided to go for double Bracer. So you're not gonna feel that harassment coming up from the Spirit Bear.
Yeah, it's not really a kill lane like we've seen from Snap Mars or Murano Mars, but it's a bully lane, isn't it? They just keep themselves nice and healthy, playing aggressively non-stop. And Mars with his attack animation and base damage, always very good at denying creeps and getting his last hits going.
Mid lane.
Rolling in towards Storm. He's not level 6 yet. He'll try and drag the Earth Spirit back in towards the tower. Toronto Tokyo healed up by IO, but it's not fast enough. Why? He's looking to line up a stun on the IO now, as they do lose their Earth Spirit, but that'll bring the fight to a close. Mira and Miposhka, not anything left in the tank to follow through on Y.
If he connects with the stun, I think he potentially lives there, but that's always the thing with the Earth Spirit. Like, you miss a spell, you're gonna look really bad and put yourself in a bad spot. Like, you just roll underneath the tower, you get pulled, but still, nothing to say. I think he's the one who got the first blood. Yeah, that's very important for Zeus. And also, he's gonna be getting closer to level 6, which means that the side lanes can play a bit more aggressively and potentially get a kill from there.
And the worst part is when you're Earth Spirit, you know it's going to happen as you're casting it, right? You have that animation of when he's rolling in, as he actually does go again into the mid lane, looking for Miposhka. This time, he's not in danger, as he will find a bit of help from Y and nothing to say. Keeps Ame in a tough spot though down bottom. Both supports rotating again, guarding runes, putting pressure on mid, giving Zeus a better time. So a bit more sacrifice this time from the Lone Druid, which we saw from the Void Spirit previously.
Yeah, definitely. And about to hit level 6. Looking at Fates Beyond's build, going for Ring of Health as a first item, just to be able to sustain more in the lane. I think that, because eventually you're going to turn that into Lincoln Sphere, Refresher.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Collapse. 31-13. Tons of denies down in this bottom lane. Lone Druid just sitting by his tower, trying to drag creeps back in towards it for the safer farm.
Collapse Mars, bringing the memories from last DI was either Mars or Magnus pretty much, and these were two most successful heroes. Let's see what he can do in this one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game for it. Being able to get in on top of Zeus, of Lone Druid, especially pre-BKBs, he's going to be that real main tempo setter. And he's got the IO to teleport him around the map as well, so wherever they want to fight, if there's a Winter's Curse to stop aggression from LGD onto, say, the Storm Spirit or Bloodseeker, they'll have that reaction time to come back in. But this bottom lane, reaction comes from LGD and nothing to say. Zaps them from the heavens.
This is the type of rotation that they needed. Might not have needed Zeus ulti, but when you're playing mid Zeus, like, you want to get all the last hits. And Fate Beyond feels pretty safe on top. I want to see a rotation when Bloodseeker gets level 6 just to be able to get the kill. Problem is, they don't have stuns. Like, it needs to be Storm Spirit or Collapse, and Collapse is going to go for the bottom. Like, he's not going to TP
Good
silence.
Storm's down. He missed the roll, but he made up for it in his other spells. But yeah, that Zeus ulti
1-1-1 build.
depends who you ask, right? You say it may not have been required, but nothing to say. Absolutely, be like, oh, I needed to do that. Yatoro.
Low on mana. If they decide to go on him with Rupture, he does not have enough to TP. Will have it, but can't use any abilities.
Collapse being eyed up again. This time, Zeus rotating here. Nighttime, he's not aware of what's coming up from the river. They do try and get in on top of the Earth Spirit as well, but Collapse entangled under his own tower, brought down. As Jinkyu does finally fall as they dive the tier 1 mid.
They need to get something done with the Storm Spirit. They do have Storm and Io, so that's going to be a lot of mana regen. Mira already knows going for the Soul Ring to get some extra mana on the Storm Spirit. Good stun again from Y.
On point with that. Mira's going to try and top up
You
Toronto
can't use
Tokyo,
Remnant.
but Mira dying just to this lightning spam. The Haste Rune.
Jinkyu picks it up.
He gets it under the nose of the Storm Spirit. Toronto Tokyo can ball lightning away from here.
He's going to be fine.
He will be fine. But
Most importantly, he picked it up, so that means Toronto will not have it and also will not be able to refill the bottle.
I just want to say, though, those 2 kills on Mars feel incredibly important, because we were talking about how he's the real linchpin hero. He's the team fight. He's the go hero. Dying twice like that delays his item timings. And it's also a bit of a morale thing. You know, he's died twice, so maybe he feels like he needs to farm a bit longer, delays his aggression, which gives
he was
LGD
playing
more time.
with Io in the lane, that means a lot of experience was soaked up, because usually you are tethered to a hero, you're not staying away from the XP range.
Oh, yeah.
And 9 minutes in, he's still not level 6 on the off lane, which... I don't know. I also want to see if they decide to make a rotation, try to kill Lone Druid. He does have a true form, so if he gets that, I don't think they're getting killed.
I mean, how far is Collapse? He's closing in on 6. He must be.
Yeah, 1
Needs
CS
that
away.
arena, but he's going to die again. Slow him with a Heavenly Jump. They didn't get the claws to entangle him.
Radiant using his
Razor.
scan, they know something's approaching.
Ruptured, burnt by the Wyvern. Earth Spirit rolls in, trying to do a bit of damage back in towards them. But it looks like they're trying to go back in, down a bottom lane. There's no stuns on the Jinkyu. Zeus jumps out. Storm, ball lightning in towards him. The big old ulti from him. And oh, there we go. Collapse. Makes up for everything with a great double kill. Get the Storm out now as Mira still tethered up to him. Keeping those heals going. And tethers back away from the Lone Druid as well. But finally, we see an arena and it works out wonderfully.
Yeah, good one from Collapse. Trapping all 3 heroes, and rotation from Toronto Tokyo paired up with Io, giving him extra mana. I'm still a little afraid for Storm Spirit. We're going to see that again. Like, Zeus tries to jump out, still playing underneath the vision. There is an Observer Ward, but he traps all 3 of them. They get the 2 kills. Am is going to survive. No roots on Storm Spirit.
Yeah, they were getting close to killing off Toronto Tokyo, but didn't have quite enough damage. What's the move now from LGD? Because that's a good momentum swing towards Team Spirit. Try and kill the Storm. Another missed roll from Jinkyu. So more breathing room for Spirit here to get their farm on. And we've still not seen what the Storm is buying, right? He's got Treads Null, but... Oh, man. Faith Beyond stealing stacks.
It's a big stack. Offlane and safe lane for PSG.LGD this time around, not that good of a start. And they're going to even bring Storm Spirit just to secure the kill.
Make damn sure he's dead. catapults there as well, so they could transfer this into a tier 1 push. They're all there already. A little bit worried about that mid lane, though. A more important objective that LGD are eyeing up.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Good stun from Y. Carapace.
Get on the IO.
That's gonna get beat a kill.
Easy peasy.
Talking about like how these two cores on LGD are not having that good of a time. Razor, his BKB timing gonna be delayed because he decided to go for Ring of Health. Still, they want to defend the tower. Fade Beyond, they need someone with a stun. Jinkyu's gonna TP in.
Oh, look at Y though in behind. Storm Spirit still silenced. Magnetizes on him. 300 HP. Is that going to be enough to tank through it? It looks like he should.
Nope. Zeus ulti.
You never find with a Zeus on the map.
Now.
And they scout them out. They see Yatoro, low health as well. Bloodright's there. Y Carapace is going to connect in. The stun to land. No, he doesn't even need it. Just Vendetta thwack into the head of the Bloodseeker. Y getting slowed by the Arctic Burn, but Jinkyu is backing him up. And LGD, they've got the Razor to help out as well. Does Collapse want to spend Arena to try and get a kill? He does. Get rid of the pesky Nyx Assassin. No bonus kills for them though, as Mira being focused by Faith Beyond. The Cold Embrace. It's there to heal them up, and Toronto Tokyo ball lightning into the back. Vortex on the Zeus as well, but the silence from Jinkyu. Storm has the ball away, he's got nothing left in the tank. Physical damage out of Faith Beyond's going to kill off his own teammate at this point. Nothing to say, he'll try his best to do damage in towards him before he falls. But Faith Beyond is ruptured and dead as well.
It was a nice curse coming out from Miposhka to lock them down, and also good save. Still, they managed to get a kill, but also 2 big kills. Actually 3 from Team Spirit. Ame trying to find some farm. This time around, a little bit delayed on his timings. Still going to be a decent... Yeah, because he broke some records. Like, he broke 2 different records.
Like 5 minutes ahead of both of his first items. I like this Y item build as well. Fluffy
Double
hats.
fluffy hat.
Hell yeah. That'll help him survive against Collapse's Mars. Who he does see. Lone Druid pops the Mom, gets the claws in onto Mars, and Collapse.
You can't use your abilities because it's going to get blocked by Y. Also, he is maxing out the Carapace, which I really like. You're playing 5 Nyx. It's not about you stunning people with the Impale. It's about lowering the cooldown, because this ability really scales. Even though Impale did get some loving from the Frog lately, and also has another point in Mana Burn, like just a casual one if you need to burn mana on the Storm Spirit, some extra damage.
I guess even the IO or the Cold Embrace target, Mana Burn can be incredibly useful. Oh, Fairy's Trinket for the Storm Spirit, that's wonderful to see from Team Spirit's perspective.
Oh yeah, Fairy's Trinket.
Perfect.
Very good tier 1 item.
Oh, yeah.
So good
very
that in the yesterday's game, Amar was keeping it after 40 minutes on Timber.
Seriously?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts.
Wow, it's incredibly strong. Percentage-based, anything is always strong. Yatoro, another miss roll from
looking for a
Jinkyu.
curse.
Yeah, trying to line it up, but there's just so much focused targeting here from LGD. Everyone in the right place at the right time. And a 4K lead built up by LGD. All their cores up at the top now. Looked a little bit sketchy 10 minutes in, with Mars getting up there, Yatoro getting some farms, some good fights from Spirit. But LGD have more than caught up at this point.
Once Mars picks up the Blink Dagger, it's going to be much easier to initiate for them, because 2 supports, like they're more counter-reactive. They're not going for the aggressive plays. So they definitely need this Blink Dagger. And then Toronto Tokyo has Arcane Rune in the bottle. So it's go time. Once Collapse finds enough farm for his Blink Dagger, it's time to smoke. Jinkyu looking for some opening.
They've got these double wards in the top jungle, right? So they're trying to play into their own vision. Setting up with... These 2 support heroes are so good at getting in behind enemy lines.
They're completely different than what Team Spirit has. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Carapace on the Spirits. I think that's going to be Mira thinking to himself, I'm never pressing Spirits again. It's just a Carapace opener as Toronto Tokyo and the Arena from Collapse looking for the Nyx Assassin. It's only 1 hero caught inside, but Jinkyu does get blown up by the ball lightning, and Y's TP cancelled short.
Arcane Rune on Storm Spirit plus a Fairy's Trinket. It's like having 3 Null Talismans, maybe even more.
One of the old ones, yeah. Zeus.
You said Io's not going to use the spirits anymore. They're called Team Spirit, Gary. Of course he's going to use it.
But the carapace is so good against it.
Probably going to get punished if he keeps using that. Also, on the other side, we have Spirit Bear. A lot of spirits in Dota.
There are. Spirit Breaker, Vengeful Spirit. Do we have any Spirit Vessel?
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing.
I wonder who's... I guess it captures the souls of people, doesn't it, Spirit Vessel? Trap the spirits inside of it. Now I see all the beautiful items they're picking up. Zeus has finished off that Kaya Sanj. So he's going to be able to keep himself out a little bit tankier, withstand some of the onslaught that will come towards him in the team fights. Because so far he has been focused. He has been the real one they've gone for as Team Spirit. Look at that. Zeus damage numbers are always insane. Well, this one particularly good from Nothing to Say. Way out in front compared to the rest. Poor little Io.
It's not
Come
fair.
on.
It's definitely not fair.
Don't single him out like that. It's an Io.
Yeah, but if you check the healing, Zeus has done 0 healing so far.
Oh, he's done a bit. That bottle's given him a bit. 10.1k from the Bloodseeker out of his passive as well.
It's time to try to go for a fight transition that into Roshan for PSG.LGD. They're sitting underneath the ward, so 3 people getting scouted at the moment.
I thought he was going in there, and it looked like Nothing to Say he thought the same. Immediately started backing up.
Toronto still wants to wait for his BKB to come online. Very close to it, 300 gold away.
Oh, yeah.
And also, Bloodseeker going for a BKB. He's not going to have it for the next fight.
But you reckon they'll still go for it around this storm timing? Xinkyu trying to scout, just face tanking whoever's up the high ground. Rolling again, just catching onto the IO, and the Nyx Assassin trying to land the stun after the carapace on the storm. They found him with another roll back in, but the relocate out saves the day.
Even defensive rupture on Xinkyu so that he can't go in and chase people with the rolling boulder.
Collapse got the regen, spears back to the Zeus as well. Io, great tether from Mira, gets him out of danger. Now Y might be the one in a spot of bother. Curse stop around 2 of his cores. Storm zipping in with the Mars Arena. Team Spirit, huge fight for them. They take out the Nyx and the Zeus, and it looks like Faith Pian going to be in trouble too.
Here comes
Lone
Ame.
Druid, the bear arrives, clears through Yatoro so quickly. Hot knife through butter as he entangles the storm as well. Oh, Ame just comes in and cleaves them in twain. Collapse now. The focus for the bear. And Meposhka hunted by Xinkyu.
Has Mask of Madness as well. Can he get the spear off?
I don't think any of these heroes can escape. LGD are going to clear them all out. Collapse. He's being roared up. Savaged by the bear.
Once Ame showed that fight's pretty much over. But the good curse from Meposhka to be able to set things up for the rest of the team into Bloodright, into 3-man arena. Still only losing Zeus and Earth Spirit, I believe. So they're not... Razor, still super tanky with just the BKB, even though his timings were a bit delayed. And same as game 1, 3 cores on side of LGD on top of net worth.
Yeah, and game 1 you were talking about how Team Spirit were maybe playing, 4v5 because their Viper wasn't doing very well. LGD have been playing 4v5, but it's given the Lone Druid so much time to rack up 11,000 net worth that he just joins the fight and says, "Yeah, what up? I'm the big boy here. I'm going to kill all of you, and I'm going to go into Roshan. I'm going to get Aegis." How can you stop him? He doesn't even need boots on his hero.
Dire Scan connected for a second, scouting out Zeus. Nothing to say, playing extremely greedy on the top lane. I mean, the rest of the team is like 2,000 range away from him. Now a bit closer, but still. I guess they're showing on the bottom, so he doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, no, there's no real threats coming his way just yet. But there's no way Team Spirit here are able to contest this. Aegis grabbed, and no recourse for Spirit to really battle back. What's the vision situation like right now for Spirit? Because there's sentries in the air. They clear out the sentry in the mid lane, so now they've got some way to reveal the Nyx Assassin. And they do have that bottom ward spying out into the bottom jungle. And a top one that they've had for quite some time. So they've got areas they can play into, but it doesn't feel like those areas that LGD are necessarily going to be sitting in. They'll send the Razor down bot to clear the wave, but yeah, the other four are just going to come into top. Look towards tier 2s and outposts at this point. Same story as game 1, right? With this Aegis, clear out tier 2s and control the map.
That's going to be the plan for PSG.LGD. Also 2 big items coming up. Basher on a bear, so another way to control Storm Spirit when he comes in. And Fate Beyond getting closer, 1,000 gold away from his Lincoln Sphere. He knows that he's going to be the target with the Rupture, so needs to protect himself. Man, Razor has been like one of the better anti-carries and one of the, if not the best one, and also one of the better carries in the game. It's pretty nuts to think about it.
Yeah, he's an incredibly potent hero. It's always felt like he's been very versatile in terms of what items you can build. Of course, everyone just gravitates towards BKB Refresher because that's the simpler way to play him. But you're not really locked into a playstyle or a lane or anything like that. Very dynamic hero.
Double blink from Spirit. Oh, he's stuck.
He's rolled all the way in, but
who's stuck now?
Down to the low ground. A great stunt for the Knicks as well. Toronto Tokyo relocated back up to top. The mech from Mira trying to top up Miposhka, keep them healed, and they do bring down Jinkyu. Bloodseeker's BKB has just been finished off.
Look at the tower.
But the tower's just being mauled by the bear.
It looked pretty bad when he rolled in. They knew exactly where he was, and then he gets the kick on Mars, so pretty good trade. He also got the Urn of Shadows charge, which he's going to turn into Spirit Vessel. Well, trap the Spirit heroes. Trap Team Spirit inside of it. As you said.
Don't let them escape. Don't release the spirits. It still feels like Team Spirit, they've got ways to play these team fights, though. You know, the ever-ending threat of the reset tool out of Winter's Curse, the Mars Arena. It's just a fact of getting damage onto the heroes you need to.
They definitely want to take a fight to double damage on Storm Spirit and Witchblade completed.
Time to make a move. So far, we've not seen too much impact out of the Storm and the Bloodseeker, but yeah, you're right. This is
having a good read. They know something is up. No one showing on the lanes.
And nobody top taking the safe farm. Nobody under their vision. And now they'll see the D wards, so LGD know exactly where Team Spirit are. Whereas Spirit, I don't think they've got a clue. The smoke out of LGD here is going to give them a great opening. Just have to dodge a couple of sentries. Why? Trying to move forward. Yatoro stunned. Doesn't get his BKB off in time. Oh, the Bloodseeker, he's just going to die. Blood right down, but say goodbye. Faith Beyond picking up yet another kill.
A bit premature BKB. He did have Lincolns to protect up against the Rupture. The rest of the team was there. A bit greedy from Yatoro. He was not with the team. The rest of the team sitting on the high ground.
Is it a small camp?
Yeah, it's also a small camp. You've got like 60 gold from it. This also means your tier 2 tower is gone. Another one.
It's just that algorithmic play from LGD. They know exactly what move comes after the next.
Algorithmic. Gary, I told you, every single time you learn a new word, you gotta report it to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. Team Spirit fighting back. Let's see if they can get something out of this. They do kill the Knicks, but losing the IO doesn't feel particularly good. And LGD still in a good spot across the river in dire territory, ready to take outpost.
Also, Zeus revealing wards I don't know. They have still two observer wards. I'd say Team Spirit has done a good job considering that they are playing from behind, also playing against Zeus to be able to sustain some of their vision on the map. 2 Spirit Vessel charges on Jinkyu, which means that healing coming out from Cold Embrace and Io, like even Bloodseeker, if he gets the last hit, is not going to be that good.
Why clearing out that bot wave? And just about to reclaim there on our mate. Just when you've got heroes like Nyx and Earth Spirit, they're so good at doing stuff like this, poking their heads into the enemy jungle, trying to spot out where your opponents are standing. Look at that. That E-Blade. So disassembled the Kaya Sanj. Goes into the E-Blade. So is this Sanj just going to stay there? It's not really a halberd game, is it?
I think he might just keep it.
Is Sanj and Yash are going to come out? Just keep it there for a bit of tankiness.
Usually strength carries like a year ago were getting
Like
casual
Lifestealer.
Sanj, yeah.
Yeah. Lifestealer, Sven, stuff like that. And Yule's done on the Nyx as well. Trying to get some high ground vision into the triangle. They saw the Storm and the Io tethering across the river. Jin-Q just keeps on going, rolling forward and finding Mira. Nyx and Razor will arrive as well.
He wants more. 900 mana left on Toronto, Tokyo. Gonna be hard to chase him down. Gonna TP out.
Middle tower is under attack.
Still, they got the kill. Look where Ame is.
Yeah.
He's getting a solo kill on Bloodseeker potentially.
Oh my god! If the rest of them can connect on this, they could do a tremendous amount of work up in these tier 3s. Yatoro is going to have to make a trip back to Fountain. Unfortunate for LGD, they weren't quite speedy enough with their heroes to get there in time. But it's still good pressure in towards Team Spirit. And of course, we know that LGD are going to take their time about this. Winter's Curse and the Arena are always going to be a threat when you're pushing high ground. There's no need to rush anything. You're building up your 10k net worth lead now, getting bigger and bigger.
LGD has done a very good job so far keeping people away from Razor and Lone Druid. Like, their positioning was extremely good. So, like, even though there were a couple of good curses for a setup, we still haven't seen Hero dying immediately because he's sitting next to Razor or Lone Druid Bear.
Tower is under attack.
Poor little courier. Does slip away, nearly died. Yatoro and Collapse. They are trying to use this tree line to their advantage, but quickly realize that with no tower there, they won't have the rest of the squad to back them up. And again, one of these situations where it's quite apparent Team Spirit want to play around an objective or around vision. They need that. They need that visibility. They need to see where these heroes are to get their teamfight ultis latched onto the key targets.
They lost all their vision. They don't see anything right now.
They've got one ward where the Razor is right now, and that's what Collapse is going to use. In with a Storm, Faith Beyond low. They should be able to bring the Razor down, and LGD just hands in the air, back up and evade. Or do they? They're rolling in. They're finding the Bloodseeker. They've got the magic damage to pummel him, even through the cold embrace. And now Jin-Q trying to get in on top of the rest of them. Not quite latching, but at 6.
Oh, he was trying to go for the curse, gets bashed.
Poshka! He tried, but he failed. Falling short of the mark, and Storm Spirit Yule's stunned and dead.
He tried to go for relocate, but there's too much damage coming out, and now your buildings are exposed. This is full AC plus Deso on a Lone Druid, so if you don't buy back, you're gonna lose this set of barracks plus potentially another one.
This might just be the signal of the end.
What PSG.LGD is doing right now, they're forcing the buybacks. Going for tier 4s.
You've got to. Storm Spirit returns to the battlefield, but Mira, he's dying to magnetize, gets in Fountain just in time. Storm Spirit zips back across Y. Now they've found the milestones. Collapse.
Ame's just going to end the game.
Q, and the throne is falling. There's nothing to stop this man.
Absolutely dominant performance from PSG.LGD in this series. 2 times in a row. Ame, last pick Lone Druid, have not played it in 2 years. Probably played it, in a couple of scrims, but yeah, absolutely dominant. Like the way they set up the lanes, the way the supports move, because they had Nyx Assassin and Earth Spirit move to the mid lane, making Toronto Tokyo's life miserable one more time, and also the side lanes. Collapse was off to a really good start. He was on top of CS, like Lone Druid had.
It's like 16 CS, like 5 minutes, and something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And then 2 ganks coming out, plus also Zeus, the extra damage coming up from the mid lane, the global presence. Team Spirit, like I didn't see too many aggressive rotations. Something that like during TI when they won it, they were always a little bit of a slower team. But with a lineup like this, I think it's a bit too defensive.
Yeah, there was no snappiness, right? There was no direct action from Team Spirit, whereas LGD completely free to just be like, okay, we move here, we get this. Oh, they're giving it to us. We'll go next, go next, go next.
Absolutely. Also, Razor, this hero, yes. It has to go. I feel like if you don't have the first pick, you have to ban it. I know some teams have other special heroes that they love to play that you might need to be afraid of, but Razor seems to be the hero of the tournament, at least from the games that I covered.
Yeah, the fact he's so versatile, the panel we were talking about it, could be position 1. They've got these ranged heroes to go with the melee supports. You can put him wherever you want, and you just buy BKB Refresher against the Bloodseeker, you buy a Lincoln Sphere.
It's not the most fun hero to play, but gets the job done.
Yeah, and the fact that then he's able to do multiple things, right? He can be that split pusher, shoving waves. He's the team fighter, getting on top of people. You mentioned anti-carry as well against all these melee carry heroes. He's just so incredibly powerful.
You need to be able to shut him down in the laning stage, and so far in the last 4 games that I've seen, he always has a good time.
Yeah.
And this is the first big hero that we're talking about, so you need to figure it out, like how to deal with him. Look, I was talking to Seb yesterday, and he's like, yeah, you got to do something. Like he was bringing out the carry Venomancer, like something that Matu would do. Like just bring out the Venomancer, make his life miserable.
Meet toxicity with toxicity.
Yeah, I think like the other option is to go for a hero like a Leshrac to be able to deal with him, because you don't rely on dealing physical damage. You always have something to be able to like get him low and not care about the physical damage output. It's also a good lane matchup.
Yeah, and maybe even, you know, the old days when you're against a Terrorblade, you kind of tri-lane for a first blood, you bring 3-4 heroes to get that kill, like Spirit did against the Lone Druid, try and just kill a Razor once or twice in the lane. But I believe we've got an interview getting ready on stage, so we can pass it over to Arvo and see what they have to say.
All right, we are here on the stage with Nothing to Say from PSG.LGD. First of all, Nothing to Say, big congratulations. First thing on my mind, first time you've been up against Team Spirit since TI10. What's happened? What's changed? Have you evolved, or have maybe they slipped a little?
I think we just play better. Yeah, I think they are not. I think we play well. Like I think we just play better than them. Yeah.
السؤال كان للاعب يتركز على نشوف إذا اللاعب هل بعد ما اقطعوا فترة طويلة ورجعوا مرة ثانية هل تغيرت المنتاليتي حقتهم، لكن يبدو لي إنه تركيز اللاعب على إنه كانوا بس يجهزون للمباريات وجايين إن شاء الله عشان يأدون أداء كويس.
And speak to me a little bit about the preparation, right? This is the first time you've got to go up against international teams in a long time. Were you just trying to focus on your own game plans, or was there a lot of research going into a specific region?
Yeah, I think we just play our style in China, then just focus our play style. Yeah, that's all.
السؤال اللاعب كان يتركز على كون تجهيزاتهم دخولا للبطولة، هل هي كانت متركزة على البلاي ستايل حقهم انهم يطورونه، او انه يكون متركز على انه يعرفون كيف يتواجهون ضد الانترناشونال تيمز الثانية، لكن كان تركيزهم على انه نركز على خطتنا ونقدر نجهز الخطة حقتنا وبعدين نبي نقدر ان نأدي أداء كويس.
And usually when we get into these international lands, there's this kind of feeling that everyone does their meta and someone has to adjust. Knowing that Arlington's just around the corner, do you see this type of event, this type of LAN environment as a big advantage moving into the major?
Sorry, I don't understand.
So you know how when you get on LAN, the different regions have different styles?
Yeah.
And someone says, this is our style, and everyone else changes to it. This is a LAN before the big LAN, before the major. Does that seem like a big advantage that you're going to be able to carry in to get a feel for the other regions?
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay, let's go a different way here. DOTA, it's your life, but you got to have something you do outside of the game. Is there something you and the team do together to bond outside of Dota 2? Bonding, so team, like growing activities, things that you do outside the game.
We'll go. We will talk a lot. Like if we're eating, then talk a lot of Dota. While we were eating, we will talk a lot. We will go gym together. Yeah.
السؤال كان متركز على الفريق، هل هم كيف يقدرون انهم يحسنون من الكيمستري اللي بينهم، كيف يقدرون يسوون بوندينج اكثر مع بعض، وكان الجواب حق اللاعب انهم احنا دائما ناكل مع بعض، نروح للجيم مع بعض، ونقدر اننا نسوي اكتيفيتيز يعني مختلفه مع بعض عشان يحسنون الكوميونيكيشن حقهم اكثر.
Well, we'll let you get back to your team. Nothing to say, definitely something to say. Back over to the studio.
يعطيكم العافية أعزائنا المشاهدين، الآن خلونا نروح للاستوديو ونرجع لكم على طول.
Welcome back. We got to hear a little bit of what he had to say, and now we can talk with the series a little more.
I knew you were going to go had to say about nothing to say. He didn't have much to say though, did he?
No, he had nothing to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm glad we beat that horse.
Is this what it's like? Is this what it's like when you have to just stand here and listen to my joke?
Yeah, cringe and pain. Anyway, we have a series. Let's talk about this one, because the second game particularly seemed much better for Spirit, especially compared to game 1.
Yes, but they just got outplayed. Like that's the thing. Like that wasn't a draft issue. I don't want to say I preferred Spirit's draft, but it gave them a chance. You saw how different Miposhka's impact was. Obviously, that last little engagement didn't work out too well. He tried for the Blink Curse while the Bear was, for the first time, it felt the whole game next to a high-priority hero in Q, but it just wasn't enough. You know, the Cold Embrace, they still had plenty of damage to go through.